You are now listening to The Sports Table.
You know what's funny about Hialeah? I went to a restaurant. I have to pick up some food. I go to the restroom, all Hispanic. You know, you see like flies everywhere. I look to my left, and it says Blokes. I look to my right, and it says Sheila's. I'm like, so these are the doors at Outback Steakhouse.
They just stole the Outback
They stole
doors.
the signs from the Outback Steakhouse, and they put it on the front of their doors.
With Chris.
I was hacked here at work on my Facebook, and a friend of mine posted a status of the closet is dark, I'm coming out. And everyone was like, it's about time. I have to change something about my personality. Bring my girlfriend as many places as I can.
Dio Carlos.
That
Shut
first
up,
take show, for the love of Jesus, man. That's like watching the Bravo channel, man. With Skiptora Bayless and Stefania A. Smith. Give me a freaking break, man. Housewives of Bristol. And watch those two little bitches bicker back and forth.
Alan.
I'm very curious because they present something completely different from the general politics amongst the big families. And I just don't know what to expect out of those two. Maybe we're taking over a dragon?
What's that?
And Dio George.
No, yeah. No, except for last night. Yeah. I mean, no, you know what? I'm going to go back to watching. I don't know what I'm watching. Toda la mierda que está ahí, ¿qué cosa hay?
Because here, nothing is off the table.
Can you imagine that conversation when they start nailing it in there? Yes.
No, I want the explanation.
Que lo que es un bloke.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how many people?
¿Qué carajo está Sheila?
You know how many,
¿Cuánto va un Sheila?
you know how many people have stopped in front of the doors and gone back and asked, where the hell is the men's bathroom?
Porque vi un bloke ahí, pero ¿qué es eso?
¿Qué coño bloque y chila ni un carajo, chico? You didn't get me this time.
No, I know. You were looking at me the whole time.
No, I wasn't.
Are you wearing?
No.
We are back, everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Table. Everyone, for those of you that aren't in the studio, this starts off with drums, and 4 out of the 5 people on this table was hitting the drums with their hands. So, how many times do you do that when you're driving and everything's percussion in the car?
Of course.
Is that not the case?
Of course.
Alan?
I'm listening to sports radio a lot now. And your mythical 93.5 that dies when I drive over here.
Well, I told you the sound.
I understand why.
The antenna's only down
I just
south.
enjoy the idea that I'm driving to the station it originates from.
Right.
And it dies and becomes Joel Osteen telling me about God.
You know what? I went to drop off something for Layla the other day at school at Florida Christian.
Uh-huh.
And there is 2 blocks. If you turn right on 87th, if you turn left on 87th, on the very first block you turn right to go into the school, there's 2 blocks there that 640 goes to Cuba.
No way. Look at that. At least someone will listen to 640. Ooh, radio burn. No one?
I don't even think they listen.
I didn't know there was a 640.
Well, I was.
I'm looking around like, wait, this is 940. What? Huh?
No, 640.
Well, I love Sid, so.
You love Sid?
Yeah.
Love to hate him.
I love to hate him. I don't listen to him.
We are back here at the Sports Table. Let's try this again. We're back, everybody. Yeah. This is going to be a nonstop football day because football season is here. We had a taste of it last Saturday, basically last weekend. It ended on Monday. When was the Florida State game? On Monday?
Monday.
Yeah. So it was college football had its debut. Now tomorrow, being Thursday, the NFL starts and the real men get to play.
Thank God.
But we're all here in studio. I'm Chris. Again, I'm always joined by my favorite Miami people for sports, at least. I got Alan.
Good qualifier.
I hope
Alan
not.
to my
I hope
right.
not for sex.
Well, Theo George in front of me, and then Theo Carlos to the left.
I'm here.
We didn't even get 10 minutes in before he
10 minutes.
bombed it.
10 minutes.
It's
been like a
3-minute
minute and a
mark
half.
right now.
Look, I just gave an easy buffer on that.
George is in studio. Yeah. It's been a little bit since Jorge has been in studio with us. We've been missing.
I only missed it 1 week.
No,
yeah,
you,
but no, there was a couple of weeks that we were off though.
you,
in between, so.
Well, yeah, but I was back last week. And not last week, the week before. And,
We
you
just
know.
haven't been
No,
together.
yeah.
No,
I'm
yeah.
so
No,
happy
the week
you're
before.
in.
The week
I'm so
before.
happy you're in.
Yeah.
Oh, but you also missed the impromptu, the Monday show.
Oh
The
yeah,
Monday
the Monday
show.
show. We had a Monday
Remember,
meeting.
I called you.
Where was I?
You were on the way to the airport. You're in your airport.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
yeah. So yeah, no, it's good to have everyone in
I
studio.
was on Monday. No, I was on Tuesday.
That was on Tuesday for the
Yeah.
Monday night show.
Right.
Okay. Matt's in studio with us, my brother.
Hey, Matt.
He'll
Mateo,
chip
me
in,
tiro cuatro peo.
he'll chip in a little bit later. George is it's his turn for music. Before we get into what smells heavenly to my left, what are we listening to, Jorge? I'll
We
just bring
are
it back up
listening to
again.
Metallica's 4th album, and Justice for All.
And what's the name of this song?
Dyer's Eve.
Now let me ask you a few questions about Metallica. I've been waiting for you to bring them up. This is your favorite band. One or two?
Yeah.
One or two.
Yeah, it is my favorite band.
Okay, your favorite band. How many times have you seen them in concert?
3 times.
Has anybody else seen Metallica? I haven't.
No.
Nope.
Oh, wow. When I meant everyone else, I meant everyone from Georgia.
Yeah, I've been to a concert, and yellow card doesn't mean anything in this discussion.
That's the kind of stuff
It
you
is
keep to
if you're playing
yourself.
soccer.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God.
Very good, George.
I'm so happy you're back, man. Anyway, so you've seen them in concert. Metallica has a few,
Bad albums.
I wouldn't say bad albums, but the reputation amongst their fans is varied. I think that's pretty fair to say.
Yeah.
The hardcore people from the beginning thinks that they're sellouts now, and the people that like their more popular music.
Not now. I mean,
Well, not now.
I mean,
but
I never considered them to be sellouts. I mean, everybody likes money. Really, Metallica, after they did, and you're saying people now, when they did the third album, when they finished the third album, which is Master of Puppets, then everything else that came after that was not Metallica, really. And I'm sure you're going to be surprised because I was before you were born. 86?
Yep, before
Yeah.
I was born.
So, I mean, Injustice for All, which is this record, is pretty good. And there's a reason why I played this, actually.
Yeah.
Same with Megadeth a couple of weeks ago whenever I had the 2 records. And I told you guys the last show when I played Megadeth
Yeah.
that I took 2 CDs to the golf because I didn't have anything else. And it was Rust in Peace by Megadeth and Justice for All by Metallica. And I listened to these 2 CDs for freaking 4 months until we can get mail.
Right.
So,
do you consider them sellouts? I know you said that you don't because
I don't know. I
everyone
mean,
likes money.
I think they're so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so good. And they change. I mean, they became comfortably numb with money. So
right.
Made it easy.
Is the point, Alan? I know you're not really an expert on Metallica itself, but once you become a video game, is that when you sell out? Aerosmith did it, Metallica did it.
No, I don't think so. I think selling out is more when you completely change how you play your music. Like if you're a band that has a lot of depth in the words, or you're really into the music, like the drums and the guitar riffs all throughout Metallica. When you start stopping that to placate to the easy demographic, the same people that pop music tends to go after.
Right.
That's selling out. Like
very well put.
Like I like Linkin Park, and their sound has changed a lot since those first couple albums.
Right.
But their sound has changed, but it's not like they've given up who they are. So it's just different. It's not quite selling
Sort of
out.
like Lupe. I remember you talking about how Lupe
I dated a girl
sold
named
out.
Lupe.
When did I talk about how Lupe sold out?
Didn't
She was
Lupe sell
Mexican.
out?
No.
Who was the one that made an album and it was so that he apologized for it because it was so record label. I thought it was Lupe Fiasco. Maybe it wasn't. Either way,
Lupe Fiasco.
I think you're just pegging me because that was the one album I brought in.
no. I've heard that was his. Maybe you didn't bring it up, but whatever. Today's a very special episode. Listen, we did this segment that we're gonna do next. What was it? Show 4? Show 4 or 5. Carlos is barely talking to the mic because he's preparing.
Show 4 or 5, yes.
This is the food segment. This is the return of the food segment. Now, we did this, I want to say February. It's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a
so
while.
about February.
It's been a while.
We had beer.
We had beer. I see glasses and I see meat and bread and sauce, and my mouth is watering. We said we were gonna practice on it so it doesn't come out like all we were doing was chewing with our food.
Yes.
But it's been so long, I really don't give a damn because the food looks delicious. So Carlos, I'm just gonna give it to you and you take it away. Our very own Jimmy Cefalo. And what the hell is that?
We've got we got some roasted top round, and what I did was it's been sitting with a rub that I have, proprietary rub. I will not discuss the details in that rub.
That's fair.
But it's a rub that's an encrusted rub. It's been rubbing now for about 4 days, sitting in the fridge.
¿Es el sazón completo?
No sazón completa. But on the very top, right before I put it into the smoker, it ends up with brown sugar on top and soaked with olive oil. Then it goes into the smoker for 2.5 hours.
Now, what's the olive oil for?
The olive oil is to keep it moist and to give it that sweet taste that olive oil, extra virgin olive oil has.
Okay.
Unfortunately, when I got home, my smoker wasn't working today.
Ugh.
I was able to get it to work for about an hour, so it's got a little bit of smoke taste to it, and then put it in the oven for the rest of the time. But it's still very, very good. I made one earlier in the week for the weekend, and it came out very good, so I decided that's what I was going to do this weekend. So they're sitting, it's nicely thinly sliced, sitting on Kaiser rolls, and then what we do is we put a nice coleslaw on top. And it's got what would be termed like a Russian dressing, which is a combination of a little bit of mayonnaise, some Dijon mustard,
and snow.
and a little bit of
The blood of your enemies.
a little bit of horseradish sauce, all mixed together in there. So it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. Let me just you take it for a few minutes. Let me finish up here, and then we'll discuss the details of the drink that we have.
I cannot wait. I went last night. It was a grown-up date. I wore a blazer. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I know. I went out and I bought a blazer and I wore it. And it was cheap, $30. Anyway, I took my girlfriend out.
Did you go to DJ Maxx?
No, I went to this place. I've never heard of this store before. It's called Cotton On.
Oh, my brother used to work there.
It's fantastic. It's cheap prices. Anyway,
So? Really?
I went to Miami Spice. I went to a restaurant. They have the Miami Spice menus.
That's a good deal.
Where you have, I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but if you don't, restaurants that you normally wouldn't attend, they have for 2 months, they have a select menu just for you, where you could have an appetizer, main course, and a dessert all at the same time. It'll cost you more or less around $33, not including drinks. But you get to go to Smith & Wollensky's. You can go to, just a few different, a few different places all across South Florida. It's a great event for these 2 months. And we went to this place. I went to this place last night called Cafe Violetta. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
No, never been.
It's in the Grove. It's right off of Lejeune, and I think Coral Reef Park or the
Coral Way.
Park.
Miracle Mile.
Yeah. Anyway, what they serve there, because I knew this was coming. I knew this segment was coming, so I was preparing while I'm getting there. Man, can Carlos's food match up? Carlos's food is the best.
Excellent. Yeah,
I love going to his food. I never leave disappointed. I only leave disappointed when I don't get to have, to take some for home. I went to this place, Cafe Violetta. The food there was, how can I put it? I have no words for it. It was so tender. They had this pork tenderloin, which was my appetizer, and the sauce. You didn't need a knife. You cut it with your fork. You know, you cut it. It was that tender. So that's how I would class Carlos's food, in the same ranking as the Miami Spice gourmet restaurants. Now Carlos is passing us some beer around in delicious Winnie the Pooh glasses.
I thought my cup was gonna be the funniest one.
You
It's a
wanna
little
talk about-
coffee cup?
No, yeah, I went to the. I
Talk
went to
about
the.
sellout.
I went to the kids' closet and pulled these out. These are little Winnie the Pooh cups that we've
Good
had.
catch.
Oh.
Thank you, sir. These are Winnie the Pooh cups that we've had for many, many, many years. They were actually given away in little jelly jars like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. What we're drinking is we're drinking really old brown dog ale.
Brown dog.
Which is a nice brown ale. And for those of you who don't know and are listening or may listen, and you probably will not be invited to Oktoberfest at my house, so that's a bad thing for you.
If we had listeners, we would do an event, but we don't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If
No, we could. I mean, whoever listens to us is more than welcome to come.
Yeah,
So you heard me, Keith. You can come.
If you hear it,
The
all you gotta
beer,
do is-
I'm dying to beat the beer.
all you got to do is call. So we're gonna do a nice Oktoberfest. This is one of the beers that I'm gonna be featuring that night at the house. We're gonna complement it with specific foods and things like that. So we're gonna have a great time.
You're gonna send out an email for
I'm gonna
for
send-
the food, right?
Send out an email for food and beer to see who wants to do what. Probably in the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna do food.
Okay, cool. This really old brown dog ale is really a smooth beer, man. It's a nice beer. It's got a nice robust taste. It's not too heavy. It's got a nice citrusy smell to it, but it's also got a little bit of maple to it, which is going to go well with your sandwiches.
Now, when I went to Boston, I was able to take sort of a course. When I went to the Sam Adams Brewery, they taught us how to try beer. And I'm going to try it for everyone that's listening and us here in the studio or those that are drinking. To try the beer, it's almost like the same. It's almost like the steps as wine, where you're going to want to, look at it to see how murky it is, how cloudy it is. You're going to want to swirl it around to activate, the hops and everything that's in there. In order to see how bitter, how sweet it is, the tip of your tongue has the sweet buds. So you're going to want to take a sip, thank you. We're going to have to want to take a sip and leave it there at the tip of your tongue. No, not like a cat that's licking and drinking. Like you drink, and then you leave it at the tip of your tongue, and you let it set there for a while, and then you swallow. And then to taste the bitterness of it, you leave it in the middle back of the palate of your tongue and swallow it, and you're able to see the contrast of the hops and the barley and everything that's in there.
And when you do that, you should be able to taste the sweetness of the maple and then the hops bitterness in the background, and then when you get it all down
And
together,
You're absolutely
it's
right.
really, really smooth.
You're absolutely right.
See, people have a misconception about beer. Beer is what we used to drink as teenagers.
Yeah, it's to get drunk.
And, just get drunk. How fast can I put them down?
Not me.
Well, that's not necessarily very productive. The idea is to enjoy, and I say that at 48 or 49 years old now, so keep that in mind. Now, the beer that I buy is different beer. I'm not just buying, a six-pack for $1.99. I'm actually going out
Schaefer's,
trying.
baby.
I'm not buying Schaefer's or MD 2020, anything like that. I'm actually trying to buy something
Natty
that tastes
Ice.
good.
Yeah.
So I think you'll enjoy this, and
Schlitz.
and again, it's a nice big goal that we have in time for Oktoberfest.
What's going on?
Yeah, he's giving us a coupon for something to eat.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
I'll
cool.
come in. Henry, you know what? Whenever you get free time, come by here, and so we can talk about the 80s, man. I want to hear about the stories from the 80s.
Yeah, you remember you're leaving soon, so you need to come in like tonight.
No, you got to come today.
Tonight.
So whenever you get a free time, like 15 minutes, just come through. Yeah, I know, but we want extra outsiders. We want outsiders. Exactly.
got
So
it.
when you come through, man. But no, but this meal looks delicious. When can I eat?
You can start eating now.
Okay.
You can start eating now.
You're gonna
Enjoy.
carry.
I'll carry for a few seconds here. We'll get into the details of what's going to happen for Oktoberfest too. Actually, before I even get into that, let me stay on the beer trend. We went on Friday night or Saturday night, I forget. We went to a place called Tap 42, and it's in Fort Lauderdale, North Fort Lauderdale. Man, what a cool place! What a cool place! They've got 51 beers on tap, 42 all the time, 9 specials that come on and get rotated on a regular basis. Fresh tap beer, cool beer, white, dark, medium bill, pumpkin ales, whatever. If you can imagine it, they got it, man. They're all coming fresh off the tap. They run their happy hour is 3 to 7, and
What's
it's $3
Top
40,
48?
Tap 42.
42?
42, and it comes. They take $3 off each beer. Each beer is $6 to $9, depending on which ones you have. And
$6 to $9 a beer?
not $69, $6 to $9.
No, $6 to $9.
Yeah, minus $3 is not bad, especially if they're a happy hour. We got there at $6.38. By 7 o'clock, happy hour ended, I already had 5
Wow.
because I wanted to take advantage of the $3 off.
Right.
Well, needless to say, that wasn't the best idea.
No.
But nonetheless, let me tell you a little story about what happened. We got to tap 42, and I'm sure my wife will enjoy me sharing this. We get to tap 42. My
You
wife
tapped her 42 times?
My wife is dressed up really cute. She's got some nice little shorts, some little pumps on, and she's got spectacular legs, so they're very attracting to everybody out there. So as we're ordering, tap 42, you walk into a little courtyard. It's a big courtyard, and then there's an outside bar, which transitions to an inside bar. The bar's on the inside, so you can order from both sides. And they got a little hallway you walk into the restaurant type. By the way, the food's spectacular there. Spectacular.
Where's that at?
It's on St. Andrews and 14th. South Andrews and 14th in Fort Lauderdale.
So you get off where? Off 95?
Get off 95 on Davie Boulevard, not Davie Road.
Okay.
Davie Boulevard, go east about a mile and a half, make a right, and it's right there down the block. But I digress. I'm sitting here, and there's 2 young ladies to the left, a guy here in the right. The young ladies look at me because they see I want to order, so they say, "Go ahead, you can lean over us and order." So I lean over, and I'm talking to Eric, the bartender, asking him what I want and telling him what I'd like.
They're sitting at the bar?
They're sitting at the outside bar.
Okay.
My wife is about 1.5 feet behind me, right where this chair's at, 1.5 feet behind me. I no sooner turn my back on her and lean into the bar and talk to Eric and order my beer, and then I turn to ask her what she wants. There's a guy hitting on her. This guy is just rapping away. In the amount of time that it took me to order one beer, she knew that he was back in town, he was a boat captain, and he was there alone having dinner.
Oh, yeah.
This dude was quick.
Piranha, man.
Quick. So I kind of turned around and looked at him, smiled. So I leaned into her and I said, "What do you want to drink?" And she went ahead and ordered and told me what she wanted. So I said, "Speak to Eric and kind of tell Eric what kind of genre beer you want, so he can get you what you want."
Mm-hmm.
So she leaned in, talked to Eric for a minute, and then kind of came back. And then 30 seconds later, Eric comes back with her beer, and I lean in, and I turn around, and that joker's still there. He didn't get the hint. So I turn around, I give her beer. She drinks a little bit. I drink my beer. He's right there next to her during this whole time. I finished my beer. I give it to Eric. I ask for a second beer.
Was he talking to her when you guys were drinking beer?
Yeah, he's talking. He's talking, and I'm just in there watching. I'm taking in the move.
What is it saying?
She's smiling. She's just smiling, talking, and then I look at him and I say, I don't know. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him, gave him a real hard look, and went and got to my second beer. When I came back, he was gone. And then my wife, in all her wisdom, what did you do? What do you mean? What did I do? He's gone. She goes, "Did you say something?" I said, "No, I just looked at him." "Why did you do that?"
Oh, so she was defending. Right?
And I said, "Because we didn't come here with the idea of playing that game. You know, that game where your wife walks around and she's there before you, and you watch 4 or 5 guys hit on her, and then you go and you hit and you win the battle. That game." I said, "We didn't come here to play that game. I didn't mind the first 3 or 4 minutes, but now we're encroaching on the 10-minute mark. It's time for him to step." And she said, "You scared the hell out of him because he's nowhere to be found."
Oh my God, is that flattering for you, or is that
Scaring the guy, or
No, it was extremely flattering for me that he would hit on my wife.
Right,
like that.
right. That's
Yeah,
what I meant. Yeah.
Absolutely, without question. I as long as he keeps his hands off her, I got no problems. He's not rude or crude. I got no problems. He can talk to her.
Now, Carlos,
Sir,
am I to understand then that you have played this game before?
because I don't know you, but now let's talk and let's see if I can pick you up.
No. Your wife's ahead of you and just kind of watch as she is glory.
We've done the let other people gawk at you thing. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I don't mind. I don't mind.
I mean, share.
I don't mind if they look at her. This is way too much here. I'm gonna get myself in a lot of trouble.
I'm gonna get your butt kicked.
I think
Keep
that's
digging.
the initial story.
Keep digging.
But hey, what the hell?
This is delicious, by the way.
Isn't it good?
Very good.
That'll be one of our beers.
Did you take out all the calls?
No. I'm not a
they
coleslaw
balance it
mayonnaise
out.
guy, but
It
the
balance.
sandwich is solid.
The sandwich, you like the sandwich?
Absolutely.
It balances
enjoying
out.
The beer tastes like beer.
No, man.
But the
No,
sandwich
beer
is
does not
good.
taste like beer. You
gotta
know what? You know what I
drink
could
the way I
do?
told
It
you.
doesn't.
Sweetness
I
in the
did.
front, bitter
I
in the
did. You know what
back.
it tastes like? Beer.
Okay, you know what? You will
Develop a
come.
palate.
You will come to Oktoberfest.
It seems like such an oxymoron.
You will come to
Beer
Oktoberfest,
Oktoberfest.
and And see, the glasses for Oktoberfest will be different. They're going to be. I'm buying 36 glasses of beer drinking glasses, but they're going to be like testers, like what you had over there at the brewery, Chris.
So my Cuban coffee cup is not going to work?
No, you're going to have the tester glass. Damn. So I'm going to show you how all beer is not different, and you're going to actually pick a beer that you not all the same.
Thank you for helping my argument.
Correct. And you're going to go ahead and choose and pick what you like, and you'll see that you'll find something that you like. Even though you don't like drinking and you don't like the actual taste of beer because it's barley and it's wheat,
which is my case,
and what is connection, but you can appreciate the different tastes that are associated with beer and how varied and different they are. There is a beer that is made by monks, okay, and it's made by monks. And in that genre of beer, because there are several that are made by different monks, extremely expensive. You're paying $19, $20 for 4 beers.
Wow!
At the beer place. So, but it's used only with that kind of water, that monk water. There's also a beer that has holy water in it, which is what you're drinking here. This one's made with a dab of holy water to keep the evil spirits away. At least that is what they profess in the beer.
It's interesting because when I went again to the Sam Adams, they went over how he made the Boston Lager, and the Boston Lager is the highest selling beer in the country, and for them, Sam Adams. And he made his beer in one of those homemade brews in his house, in his bathtub. He made it in 1982 using the tap water. The formula for the water that they use today is the 1982 tap water formula in Boston when he originally made it in his bathtub. That's how technical. It's a science. It's a science when they make the beer. It's really cool. I mean, they have to formulate the 1982 tap water of Boston to make the Boston Lager. Well,
that's what makes the German beer so special. German and Belgian beer been around so long that there were proprietary recipes in Germany, and you could not produce certain beers in Germany, no matter who you were, unless you had the authorization to do so.
Right.
Because they took their beer so seriously. They had to be with a specific hop. It had to be with a specific amount of water, a specific water from a specific river. They're very, very detailed in how they create their beers, and that's what it is. It's a creation. It's not just something that happens by happenstance.
What was the rule? The German rule? If it has other than these 4 ingredients, then it's not considered beer.
Then it's not considered beer. Correct.
What was it? It was water, hops. I'm gonna look at it right now.
I'll tell you what.
Probably a yeast.
Yeast. Yes.
The project that I got in Haiti, it's in a beer brewery, and the guy that I'm actually getting my point of contact, if you want to put it that way, it's actually the brewmaster. He runs the brewery entirely, not just the chemical process of beer, but electrically everything. And he said, people that make wine have it easy. Why? You have 1 year that is the wine for any amount of reasons comes out bad. Everybody says, oh, that's just a bad year, not enough water, not too much sun, whatever. He said the problem with making beer is really good beer. Let me take that back. It doesn't because I don't like beer, but the beer, the consistency of you drinking a beer today and tasting exactly like it did 10 years ago or 20 years from now. That's the hard part about making beer.
The chemistry's got to be exact every time.
And absolutely, and you don't.
And I never thought about that.
But you don't get that with wine. All wine is different. And not only all wine is different, but all the same bottle of wine. You can buy 2 at the winery, and they can be $100 bottles. You can open one today, and then you can open one 6 months from now or a year from now, and it's a totally different bottle.
Yeah.
To that point, you can open a bottle right now and pour it in a glass. You can open a bottle right now and decant it into a decanter. Pour, and you got 2 completely different bottles of wine.
Let me ask you a question.
It's amazing.
How do you pair the beer with the food? How was that process made? Like why does this beer taste so well with the food that we're eating now?
When I pair beer with food, I'm looking at what ingredients I have in the food to try to match something that's going to offset that. This beer's got a little bit of maple in it, a little bit of sweetness to it, and I wanted that to kick in with the heat that's in the edge and the spice, because this has got a lot of cayenne in it. It's got white pepper, red pepper, black pepper on it. It's got a whole shell on the outside that you can see on the edge of this that's burned into it. of spices and flavors. On top, it's got brown sugar and, like I said, the olive oil. So I thought that would go well with this type of a beer.
The rule is called the Reinheitsgebot. The Reinheitsgebot.
You know what Rhine is?
Actually, you know what?
It's a river.
How does Wikipedia say it as? Wikipedia. Okay, well, it's not working.
Yay, technology.
Anyway, the 4 ingredients are these. This is according to the Germans. According to the 1800s, water, barley, hops, and yeast. Any other ingredients than those 4, it's not considered beer in Germany.
Absolutely, it's not considered beer.
Sam Adams, I don't know why I'm a sponsor for them during this segment, but Samuel Adams is one of the only beers that doesn't follow this rule that's sold in Germany. Because it's a rule, it's law. It's the German beer purity law.
Yeah, but doesn't then it considered an import or a other classification of the beer?
Yeah. So it doesn't fall under this law, but it's one of the only beers that's outside of the law that's sold in there.
I want to know if the Germans sneer at it, just like that.
No, it wins
It's not a beer.
competitions. I mean, you know what you gotta do? You gotta go. You gotta go to the Sam Adams brewery.
And that's what I thought. I mean, I used to drink Sam Adams prior to going to Boston. When I went to that brewery and I went through the whole process that you just went through, I learned to appreciate that beer even more. And now when I try them, I can think back to the things that I was told, and I can see the expertise and the taste that goes into these beers. Their seasonal beers are spectacular.
Amazing.
They really are.
Oktoberfest, I'm all about it. I've been throwing down Oktoberfest any chance I get because it's only around till the end of September. Once October hits, it's done. They don't sell them anymore. So, yeah, their seasonal beers, including the Summer Ale and then the Boston Lager. Sam Adams is good. And you know what? I drank my beer. Yeah, it tastes good. I like Yingling, Blue Moon, whatever. When I went there, it took me to the next level.
Yeah, you learn an appreciation on how to taste the beer and appreciate the beer.
Right.
Absolutely.
In Germany, I've been to Germany a couple of times, and in Germany, they got beer, and the beer doesn't taste like the beer doesn't taste like our beer does.
Uh-huh.
It's got another taste to it. It's not. I still don't like it, but it's totally different. And there's got so many of them.
Right.
I mean, I think every hotel makes their own beer.
It's
incredible.
You would think that. I mean, Germany is known for a lot of things, but also for their beer.
If we got voice to make you talk,
This sandwich, Carlos. What's the point where you know it's gonna be satisfactory? Like when you put these ingredients together and
when there's good meat and good bread.
Well, when I do, because I got a rub for my fried turkey that I do every year. I got a rub for the pork, and then I got a meat rub that I put together. And I kind of make them all similar, but they have distinct differences to them. And what I try to do is I try to accent the meat. Like brisket is a very greasy, has a lot of fat to it, so I like to cut that fat with a lot of spice and pepper to it. Meats like this, which is a very lean cut of beef, the top loins, then top rounds, I like to keep them very simple with a nice crusty outside that's got a little bit of heat but more flavor than heat to it. So it's just a combination of things that you work out, and you kind of try them back and forth until you find what you like and what smells really good. It's a combination of the smell, because my turkeys are pretty good that we make every year.
Yeah.
And those things take a lot of work and a lot of prep time, but that formula that I use, the brine beforehand and then the actual putting on of the rub and leaving the rub on for a couple of days before that, that's what makes this thing work.
To your question, cooking is about trying. In other words, I get a recipe, and you can ask Thea this. I get a recipe off the internet. I never follow a freaking recipe.
Right.
I get the essence of the recipe, and then I put whatever I think is going to taste good. And it's try and error. That's really what it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've done things that I've screwed up meals completely.
Yeah.
Because it's completely come out horrible.
Yeah.
Because I've deviated too much from ideas or recipes. But very often I'll hit it, and I'll try different pieces of meat and different cuts, and I'll do 2 or 3 different ones at a time to try to see which one works the most.
What we're going to do, we're going to go to break so we can finish our meals and finish the beer. And we
smoke.
got football. I mean, this is beer and meat sandwiches. It's the perfect entree for the
football.
for the next topics and the next season coming up
For
next.
the next 15 weeks.
Yep.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey.
Secret segment, everybody. Jorge left to go smoke. So
No, let me interrupt you. Tiger Woods, he's got such a big black 9-iron. Oh, that's why he was so good. And I don't know.
no.
Wow.
Yes. No.
What? What? What do you say?
Mira, Carlos. Esto comida. Riquísimo.
¿Te gustó la comida, Jorge? ¿Te gustó? ¿No se te trabó en el tráquea?
When you said it was smoked, I put it down my throat.
All right, you feeling okay, George?
Let me tell you what. When I was overseas, I saw someone put it down their throat. It's one of the weirdest things I ever seen.
What did you see them put down their throat, George?
Oh, it was on the ship.
No,
on the ship.
No, yeah. No. Leila, ayúdame.
No, mami, no me gusta.
Dale, coño.
Mami, pero no quiero, mami.
You think he's ever going to find out about these segments?
No, I doubt it.
He
Never.
will never,
Never.
find out about
Never
these
unless
segments.
someone tells him to his face. It's on your family, not anybody else.
Oye, gorda, tráeme un cigarro. Gorda, tráeme Johnny Walker, un traguito.
The date, you know what's going to be really sad? When he does end up like this, I'm going to replay these shows, and I'm like, I told you, Jorge.
So we told you, dude. Every time I see those commercials, especially that lady with the thing that goes, don't smoke.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I was watching.
Fuck, George, man,
TV
you're
with a
headed that
friend.
way, George.
Oh,
I was watching TV with a friend. I forgot which one it was, but they made me change the channel because they couldn't take the trachea going
Moving
in
on
and out.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, it's enough.
Did you tell them that you know someone on their way to that?
It's bad.
You should tell them. The guy we do the show
bad.
with on
I'll
Wednesday,
be
he'll
honest.
be there.
I
It's
think
bad.
it's Jason, so I'm pretty sure he knows George already.
Okay.
Man, you want to talk about a damn intermission? Jesus.
That was way too long.
We're back here, and this is going to be a high-impact rest of the show because we have a lot to get to and not a lot of time to get to it. Welcome back to the Sports Table, everybody. And it's football season.
Football
and
season!
it's football heavy this first segment because your Miami Dolphins are about to start on the 2013-2014 NFL campaign.
And believe it or not, I'm excited.
So am I. That's why I'm wearing this hat.
That's why I'm wearing the real hat.
Who are we sucking for this year?
They never suck for anybody.
Yeah, because
They're
they
never
ruined it.
bad
We should have
enough.
sucked for luck, and God, did we ruin that
They're
one?
never bad. They're never bad enough. This is what we're gonna do. Let's start a little bit of
Chris,
well, man,
man,
I ran it for a minute 20, dude.
Not a problem. Not a problem, Chris. Go ahead, man. Everything's fine.
I was saying that.
no, I'm not talking about you quitting the song. I'm talking about what's coming out of you, son.
I think he means you're dying inside.
Man,
I have no problems over here. I'm fine. You're
Yeah, I'm
doing
good
fine,
too.
Chris.
I think you directed it just to him.
I guess
Or-
I'm right across from him.
Or Matthew is secretly farting next to him.
Maybe that's what it is. Damn, man.
this is what happens when we eat that beef and beer right before.
right
Yeah,
before
but
the
Matt didn't eat beef or beer.
No, he ate plantain chips, and now he's eating beef jerky.
Oh,
Little doggy
crap, I
treats.
think
Let's
freaking-
focus. Let's
Rock
focus.
Come on,
Ready?
football, football, football.
Football!
The Dolphins are back, and they're going to be led by the second year of Ryan Tannehill, second year Coach Philbin, and fourth year
Coach who?
Philbin.
Philbin.
Bill Bin.
Philbin.
Philbin.
Philbin?
Philbin.
Philbin.
It's not
You're
Philbin.
not
No.
English
Phil?
speaking.
Bin.
Philbin.
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 Like
That's it.
fill it up.
Fill
Fill the bin.
the bin.
Okay, that's weird.
I'm so glad he's been here for a year. You're now learning his name.
That's okay.
2 years.
No, he's been here for a year.
Come on, bro.
He'll
Anyway.
be gone next year anyway, so don't worry about it.
Well, they're led by him. What did Deadspin call him? The corn. What was it? The corn industry.
A lobbyist for
A
the
lobbyist
corn
for the
corn
corn
That's
industry.
him. That's our Philbin.
That's exactly what it looks.
Shuck them ear corns.
And this is the fourth year of Jeff Ireland by himself without Bill Parcells. So this is a good barometer of what the Dolphins are going to look like for the next few years because they spent $146 million in the offseason, and they think they have the quarterback, they think that they have the coach, and they think they have the weapons more or less along the outside. So
Probably less than more.
less than more.
Yeah, because when you take a look at it, the Dolphins went into this draft with two glaring weaknesses on this football team. One at tight end, one at offensive line. What does Mr. Ireland do? Moves up 9 spots and drafts a hurt defensive end.
Yeah, but
That plays part-time. We don't need a defensive end. We got Cameron Wake and we got Vernon.
No, I think
Vernon.
our weakest point by far was the defensive line. That's why he went.
Wait a
The
minute.
defensive line?
Okay, yeah, well, I'm glad you laughed because I was for a moment there I took you
held
serious.
it so well.
Yeah, you did. You
up
did
until
very
the
well.
laugh.
You did well. We moved up, gave away a number 2 round draft pick to somebody, and we moved up to pick a hurt defensive part-time player.
As of right now.
No, he was a defensive hurt part-time player in college.
Right,
He was
right,
not a 4-down guy.
He's not going to be like that for his career, but for right
Well,
now.
we don't know that. That's the problem. That's the problem. And
that's
but
a
we,
little faith you have.
But what we did know is that we did not have a tight end. What we
Did not have
did
a
know
tight end.
is that we do not have an offensive line minus one man
Right.
in Mike Pouncey.
And outside of our best cornerback, which is going to be good, the defensive backs are really bad.
The defensive backs are bad. We're going into this season now with on offense 3 second-year players in the quarterback, Lamar Miller, and our left tackle as second-year players. We're going in with a rookie kicker. We're going in with 2 third-year players in Pouncey and Clay at the tight end. We're going in with 3 5-year players, and all 3 of them are the receivers in Hartline, Miller, and Gibson, Boobie Gibson. And we're going with 1 7-year guy, our left guard, and 1 4-year guy, our right guard.
It's a very young
It's
offense.
a very young offense. Conversely, the defense is all 5, 6, and 7-year guys.
Okay.
So the defense, we expect it to carry us. But when you're looking at that on the offense, and these young guys have not produced on the offensive line and at the tight end position, I don't know how you can turn your head and move away from that.
Let's do this. Let's. I'm going to give the itinerary for this segment, and then we'll go back to them. I want to go over the final roster. It's 53. This is not the official final roster because moves will be made in the first week,
Sure.
second week, whatever. But as of right now, they cut it down to 53. Okay. Then I want to get into. We're going to break down the schedule. I've never done this before where I've gone week by week and said this is going to be a win, why, this is going to be a loss, why, whatever. And then we're going to obviously talk about the Cleveland Browns because that's week 1 and that's 4 days away. And I cannot believe it's finally here. So to start it off with the roster that the Miami Dolphins have right now, there's a few things that, to me, show uncertainty in pretty major categories, especially coming off the offseason that they had because these were the same weaknesses that they had. At wide receiver, the Dolphins going with 4 wide receivers, okay? They re-signed Brian Hartline, and then they signed Mike Wallace. What was the statistic that you gave a few weeks back? How many?
Mike Wallace has 2 100-yard games in the last 24 games. Mind you, Devon Best, who we gave away for a 5th-round draft pick, had 4 100-yard games in his last 12 games with the Dolphins.
Right. And he didn't reach 1,000 yards last year.
Neither did Devon Best. They had about the same amount of yards, 854, and I think Mike Wallace was closer to 900.
And he's not the same price tag as Mike Wallace.
And he's making about $15 million less than Mike Wallace.
So they have Mike Wallace, Brian Hartline, Boobie Gibson, as Carlos likes to put it, and then they have Rashard Matthews, and that's it.
That's it.
They have 4 wide receivers locked. When a year ago, there was nothing but 4s and 5s.
Correct.
So what was the difference? Mike Wallace, is that why he's so secure and having only 4 wideouts?
I don't understand why. I mean, we're talking about one receiver who really hasn't. I mean, I understand football talent. I mean, I've been around this game for a very, very long time.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Can you read Mike Wallace's, not last year, but the year before?
His stats, I can find them for you.
Yeah.
If you guys carry the show for a few seconds.
I'll find it.
All right, go
You'll
ahead.
find
Yeah,
it.
so he can stay quiet.
You know why?
I'm doing some season
Because
work here, right?
Hamburger was hurt.
Who?
The quarterback for Pittsburgh.
Right.
Roethlisberger.
Hamburger was hurt
Burger.
for a lot of the season.
Right, but not the last 24 games. We're
No,
talking
no.
24 games, 2
Yeah,
100-yard
but 24
games.
24 games is he he was hurt probably 9 games last year, 8 games, something like that. He was hurt quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then he got accused of raping. And
That was a
got
couple
ma-
years before that.
got married.
Either way, it's a high price tag for a guy that productive, like his productivity hasn't been there.
His numbers
not at that price.
Yeah, his numbers do not equate.
You're looking at the
17 million.
Heat.
His numbers are not Terrell Owens' numbers. They're not Randy Moss numbers. They're not any
Right.
of those guys whom he's.
They're not
in
Brandon
that,
Marshall.
They're
numbers.
not. They're definitely not Brandon Marshall
Yeah, the
numbers.
Heat-
And look what Brandon Marshall didn't do here.
right.
And that's my concern. My concern is that we've taken every one of the 3 little eggs that we have and we put them in that one basket.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
again, I don't care how good he is. If Tannehill doesn't get time to throw the football with that putrid offensive line that we have, that patch make offensive line, he's not going to see the football anyway.
Yeah, he had the year before last. He had almost 1,200 yards. Average was 13.
Oh, Brian Hartline had 1,000 yards receiving. What does that tell you?
George, they're in gray lines and white lines. The year before last, 2012, you got the average of 13 correct. It's 836 yards.
The year before last, he had almost 1,200 yards.
No,
almost. The year before last, this is last year.
Oh.
This is the year before last.
Okay.
I'll speak English.
Well, you said 13. I went down to 2012. It was 16 per catch.
Thank you. Whatever. 1,200 yards for the year. He averaged 16.6. He had 8 touchdowns. Okay. The year before that, he had almost 1,300 yards, averaged 21 per catch, and had 60 catches.
And that was his
And
big
10
year.
touchdowns.
That was his big year.
Yeah. But last year, that's what I'm saying. Last year, Hamburger was hurt.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that this is the guy that I want him to be that man. I'm not convinced that he's that man.
The problem is, and it shows up, since I'm apparently fantasy guy here, it shows up he only does it in single plays. Like, his impact happens once, and he'll just he'll ruin your game because one time he gets a 60-yard bomb and it's a touchdown, or a 60-yard bomb to put you in the red zone. But for the most of the game, he's just a threat on the backside of the defense. So I don't know how he's going to be the primary this entire season. He's not going to get that much support out of Hartline and company. So
Yeah, Hartline is a pretty good possession receiver.
Let's be fair to, I guess, Ireland. Out of all the wide receivers that came out free agency wise, wasn't he the top one? Because they had Dwayne Bowe, but he was locked up pretty fast. Greg Jennings, I guess.
yeah,
like-
he's old.
Well, Bo never came out.
No, that's what I'm saying. He was going to be a free agent.
Yeah,
and
it
they
never
signed
came
him.
out.
If you want to give Jeff Ireland credit for
Throwing money.
acquiring Mike Wallace when nobody else could, and he was the man that went ahead and paid him to get him here, absolutely, you got to give him credit for that. He went out, he targeted his man, and he got the man that he wanted.
To be honest with you, the difference between the offer that Pittsburgh was doing and the Dolphins offer was not that much. He did not want to play in Pittsburgh.
I don't think he was getting the respect that he thought he needed in Pittsburgh, and I don't think that Pittsburgh really was pushing to get him there at that number anyway.
Yeah.
I think that they're happy with Antonio Brown as their receiver.
Oh no, I believe Pittsburgh thought that they have the same thing as Mike Wallace, maybe a little slower, but they have the same thing as Mike Wallace right now.
In Antonio Brown.
But I don't think he wanted to stay in Pittsburgh. I don't know what the reason. I don't know if he wanted to come down to South Beach. I don't know what the reason was, but he did not want to stay in Pittsburgh.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Let's
did.
take a look at the offense on paper, because again, on paper means different than what they're actually going to be on the field. But if you look at the wide receivers, they upgraded with one guy, Mike Wallace, at a weak position at tight end. Their starting tight end now is Charles Clay.
Right.
An H-back, a smaller H-back that's very versatile, but still an H-back, fullback type of player.
Inactive Agnew is second in the line, so he's going to be in the combo package.
Yeah.
Agnew is a waste of skin. He's a waste of flesh. He's an absolute waste of flesh.
The offensive line, which was pretty spotty last year, is weaker this year.
It's absolutely weaker this year.
And the running back position is still let to be determined.
It's completely unsettled.
Because
Completely.
Reggie Bush, you knew what you had with him. Lamar Miller, we still don't know.
No,
Correct.
You're right. I think it's weaker myself.
So there's really one guy, I guess, and then the advancement of Tannehill. But other than Mike Wallace, the offense has regressed. You would see on paper. The offensive line is weaker. The tight end position, which was weak already,
Is weaker.
The running backs got weaker, and the wide receivers have one guy that they improved on. That was a high price tag. I think
absolutely
$50 million.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody can argue that point. You'll get people that that'll sit there and pontificate about how good they've gotten and how much they've improved this team. But I disagree. I disagree 100%.
The weakness of the team last year was not being able to score touchdowns. It was
Correct.
not being able to put points on the board.
Isn't that the weakness of the Dolphin organization for a decade?
True. They brought in Philbin.
Philbin.
You need to write that down.
They brought in the corn chucker because they want a West Coast style. They want fast, upbeat. I mean, how many even when Sperano was here in the last year, Ross wanted to get rid of the cloud and dust and dirt. What is it?
3 yards and a cloud of dust.
And a cloud of dust. He wanted to get rid of it. He wanted the fast pace. If you look at the roster right now, I mean, you would see, and especially once we get to the schedule later on, it's going to be a struggle for the Dolphins to get where they want it to be.
Well, the thing is, the Dolphins keep talking about this fast-paced offense, this kind of a fast break offense. You see it in practices where they run back-to-back the offense with the two quarterbacks throwing patterns or running things, and they're on the clock. They're moving. They're trying to get a play off every 6 to 12 seconds in practice. Where the hell has that been in the games for the last year and a half?
Yeah.
I didn't see that all last year in the preseason or in this preseason. So we're talking now 4, 4, 8, and a whole season of games where I haven't seen this so-called fast break, West Coast style offense that the Packers run. I don't see that.
They're not going to show it in the preseason, but last season they didn't do it.
But they didn't show it during the season either.
You're right. To the strong side, I guess, of the ball, which is the defense, they have 6 cornerbacks, 6 defensive backs. So for me, I mean, again, I'm coming from the tainted glass of we're not going to be that good already. It just looks to me like they have Brent Grimes, and then they don't know who else that they have.
Well, Brent Grimes was a 7th-year guy. He's the best defensive back we have. Demetri Patterson has been in the league for 7 years. He's been cut 3 times, and we picked him up from Cleveland. How good could he be if the Browns cut him?
Right.
Forget it. He won't be starting by game 3 or 4. He might even be won't be starting by game 1 if the Browns light him up.
Right.
And we got 2 rookies, and we got a rookie at safety. We got Smith, we got Taylor, and we got Jones, who's the safety. All 3 are rookies in the backfield. Could they be good? Okay, maybe. They're not going to be good this year.
6 defensive backs, though. I mean, it just looks like they don't know who they want.
Exactly. That's what it tells you.
The same sort of thing that happened last year with the wide receivers. When they started the season, they had like 8 wide receivers.
Right.
Ended up cutting, whatever.
I think I was on the team as one of those receivers to like week 4.
And he was still better than Legadou Nene.
I mean, it's obscene. It's obscene, man. Wallace and Nene, and come on, man.
The strongest part of this team will be the front 7 on the defensive side.
The front 7.
No doubt.
Those linebackers can run.
No doubt.
Wheeler and what's his name? They can run. They can outrun. And that
Wheeler and Ellerby.
And that defensive line, that defensive line is nothing to be joking about.
Oh,
man.
no.
They got Starks and Soli on the inside, and you got Vernon on the outside, and you got Cam Wake on the other side, and you got that rookie who might play sometime this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good 7, man.
Olivier Vernon, he had really good plays on special teams, and he made a few plays here and there, but I don't know. He hasn't been a full-time starter yet.
No, I think this year he will be.
Yeah,
I think he'll be strong, and I think he'll carry that side. I think he'll take advantage of the fact that Wake gets double teamed on a regular basis, and the push that that Soliai and Stark get on the inside. I think it's going to be very, very instrumental in him having a great year.
If Olivier Vernon is going to be able to be the regular time starter, where are you going to put Deion Jordan?
He's going to be one of those guys that lines up on the middle, lines up on the outside, lines up on the other outside.
But to fill in for who?
They'll pull Soliai out.
They'll put one of the tackles on.
Yeah, it'll depend on the package. They might go into a NASCAR type package where they overdo defensive ends just to have speed rush.
And you have 3 guys standing up on the rush, and you might drop him from a linebacker and send Ellerby or send Wheeler.
Right.
That's what they're going to do with this guy. They're going to gimmick him out. Again, great idea. And if defense coordinator, Kevin Coyle, if he can get that done and use this kid that way, more props to him. Except you don't move up 9 spots in the first round and take with number 3
overall.
a gimmick player. You don't take a gimmick player number 3.
We found that out at 13 with Ted Ginn.
Didn't we?
He was supposed to be, the punt returner that was the missing piece. Because remember, they just signed, what was that idiot that did the boot dance? The linebacker from the Steelers. The loudmouth.
Joey Porter.
Joey Porter.
Yeah, remember, they just signed Joey Porter. They were making a bunch of moves, and then...
That word, the last piece, makes me have so much sorrow with the Dolphins. I feel like every year it's, we got the last piece. We got it.
How can we have the last piece? We don't have a quarterback.
Guys, just keep thinking.
That's
man.
what he thought. That's what he thought.
Every time a team like the Eagles a couple years ago, the Redskins a few years before that, the Dolphins 2 or 3 years ago, anytime a team goes out and dumps a lot of cash on the table in free agency, trying to make it fit, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
In the NFL, your free agents are the ones that fill a gap, and you build through that draft over 6-7 years, and then you have a foundation of 5 and 6 year players with an added star that you pick up in free agency. That's how you're successful. That's not what the Dolphins are doing.
Right.
They're doing it ass backward.
No, they're getting the last piece every year.
They're always winning the offseason. By throwing the most money at people. Let's go to, before we break down the schedule, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. Let's do week 1, and then we'll go over on to the regular season. Week 1, the Dolphins face the Cleveland Browns, September 8th, 1 p.m. start, in Cleveland.
In Cleveland. That's a big, big difference.
Jorge, you were in Cleveland last week.
Yes, beautiful city.
That's the funniest thing I think you've ever said on the show.
I'm telling you.
And maybe those words have never, I don't think those words have ever been uttered in a sentence together. Beautiful and Cleveland.
Did it feel kidnappy?
No, it's a strange city. It is.
Right. So you went up there.
Yep.
It's a miserable city.
It's in the summer, so it wasn't too bad.
I mean, yeah, people get freed from 10 years of kidnapping, so it's not that bad.
That's true.
Either way, you went up there. What do you see in regards to how tough the Cleveland Browns are going to be against the Dolphins? Not really what the Dolphins bring, but how tough they're going to be against Miami.
I think Cleveland's going to have a decent team.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably I would say that Cleveland and Miami are basically the same team. I think our defense is better on paper today, and I think their offense is a little bit better than ours, and our defense is a lot better than theirs. I think our defense is going to be really, really good, and I think we're talking about cornerbacks and having, cornerbacks and not being very good and all that. I think if we put pressure the way I think we're going to put pressure on quarterbacks, I don't think the cornerbacks have to be very good.
No, remember what Warren Sapp said before. You're absolutely right. If you pressure with the front four, those 3 in the back are going to look a lot better anyway.
Right.
But remember, they've got their own corners. And they got Hayden back there who can play this position. Their defense isn't all that bad. They got a much stronger running game than we do. Yeah. Their quarterback is what he is. I don't know that he's going to be a star either. I think his jury's out on him also, as much as it is on Tannehill. Although I think Ryan's got a big step ahead because he's so much younger than he is.
He's as old as
physically, Tannehill, it's much more gifted than the redheaded stepchild.
Sure, than Wheaton. Yeah,
Brandon Wheaton.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what concerns me as a Dolphin fan is that it looks like Cleveland's put together a pretty good coaching staff. I think Trzynski's going to do a good job with the guys that he's got, and I think that it's going to be a surprise to see what they're able to do because their strength is our strength. They're going to try to pound it. They're going to try to pound it with Richardson, and our defensive line is not going to be easy to run on. No. The difference could be that special team player.
Here's
the dreadlock dude,
Mr. Cribbs.
Yeah. When you look at Cleveland overall, offensively, Brandon Wheaton put more or less the same amount of numbers that Tannehill did. Mm-hmm. Tannehill had 12 touchdowns. Wheaton had 14. They both had
How many interceptions?
Wheaton had 17 interceptions.
Yeah, so the difference is negligible.
Yeah. The running back, Trent Richardson, is a monster.
Yeah, he is.
How many running backs have come from that place?
I don't know, man, but they're loaded. That kid can run the ball, man.
He's a monster. He was hurt at the beginning of the year.
Do not say that again in front of me, please.
Why?
Because when you want to talk about coming running backs out of college, don't say Alabama, okay?
Why?
Because Trent Richardson's been playing for 1 year and Lacey has been playing for none.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to talk about a college that puts out
Portis.
really good running backs,
You don't think
Portis,
Ingram's a good
Who?
running back? Mark Ingram, the Heisman winner?
Ingram
Is he Portis?
No.
is he
I
a
mean,
good
what was
running
it?
back?
Is he McGahee?
Is either of them in the league?
Who?
Oh, they played there 10 years.
They played 12 years.
Yeah, I know, but it's been a while.
Adrian James?
Who? Adrian
The
James?
U. It's been a while since the U put out some good running backs. in the league.
Frank Gore still.
Frank Gore's still in the 49ers.
Frank Gore's been playing for 9 years.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's been a while. These guys are the up and coming running backs of the league.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
Tommy,
it's
my
only
boy.
going to be another 4 months
Yeah,
before Duke is in there. Duke will be there in 4 months.
He's gonna be. Isn't he a sophomore?
Lamar, yeah, but he's leaving anyway. But Lamar Miller's going to go for 1,600 this year. So
You think so?
No, I don't.
If he was on any other team,
1,600
if he was on
inches.
any other team,
If he was on,
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to run the ball much, man. I think we're going to be a passing.
If we are a 25 to 30 pass attempts a game team, we will win 6 games. We do not.
God,
we
that
cannot.
sounded so sad.
We cannot throw the. We need to run the ball 20 times a game, man. 25 times a game.
Would you be
I
okay
think-
with them throwing on Cleveland, considering they were not that good against the pass?
Yeah, especially to start the season. I want to try to get Tannehill off to a good start because what's following after that ain't pretty. So yeah, throw the ball 35 times against Cleveland. Try to get them there. I think that they'll stop the run, and I think Cleveland is going to be in trouble if the Dolphins are able to start. If they can stop that run, they can't throw on the
Cleveland has one of the better offensive lines in football.
Yes, they do.
Isn't it amazing that a franchise we think of as so sad and hopeless managed to get an offensive line and keep their offensive line? Well, we've been drafting
Yeah.
for 10 years an
True.
offensive line.
It's true. And you know what's also sad? I didn't realize it until someone pointed it out. The Dolphins have drafted a tight end each of the last 3
years.
seasons.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
They're still there, by the way.
And none of them could supplant Fasano.
Oh God. So yeah, the cut from the Cowboys. He was cut from the Cowboys, and that's been our tight end for a while.
Oh, that's because we used to be, Cowboys South.
Right.
Guys, and I've said this many times here.
If Tannehill,
If Tannehill is an above average quarterback, we are going to be fine.
Yeah, they'll win 7 games, 8 games. That's
No.
not good enough, George.
No. If Tannehill is an above average quarterback, we'll win more than 7 games.
listen, if they don't make it to the playoffs, for me, I've settled it. It's a failure of a season. You spent a lot of money in the offseason. A lot of money in the offseason.
Even if they didn't spend any money, it don't matter. If they don't make the playoffs, it's
no,
the worst. It is.
no.
Well, if they wouldn't have gone out and gotten Mike Wallace and Wheeler and Ellerby and done all these different things that they profess will make us a better football team and
Right.
get us to the next level,
Right.
not just telling us Tannehill's going to be a year older, you're bigger, you're stronger, you're smarter, and you're more experienced, then yeah, I agree.
But he is.
Oh, no, all those things are true
You know,
about
think-
Tannehill.
we look at their his graduating class, and all the other quarterbacks. I mean, we knew. I think, in my opinion, I think Luck is going to be one of the best quarterbacks that's ever played the game.
Okay.
Me, okay. The third, RG3, I'm iffy about. I don't know what he's going to be. I think he's got all
Rookie
the
of the
talent in the
year.
word.
Rookie of the
Whatever.
year.
He's got all the talent in the word.
Whatever.
I don't know how he can be rookie
Made
of
it
the
to
year.
the playoffs.
And to be honest with you, probably the worst team of all of them, RG3.
Then the Dolphins?
No. RG3, Luck.
Wait, he had the worst
Coppernickel.
And Russell
Let me
Wilson.
let me get to the point.
Kaepernick was the year before, but yeah.
Yes, and Russell
Oh,
Wilson.
Coppernickel was the year before?
Yeah, he was on the bench.
He was
Oh,
drafted before that.
You're right. Okay. Well, not Coppernickel then. Russell,
Wilson.
Wilson, Tannehill,
RG3, Luck, and Brandon
And
Wheaton.
Brandon Wheaton.
and Wheaton. RG3 probably out of them probably had the worst team and took them to the playoffs. Now he got hurt, and who knows what it's going to be like when he comes back. But the quarterbacks that came in with Tannehill, at least Luck to me is a freak. Luck to me is like Marino. One in a generation, they come in and play right away and are great right away.
Mm-hmm.
Because hardly any quarterback in the NFL is like that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're going to go as Tannehill goes.
So what are you saying, that Tannehill's not as good? I mean,
No, I think he needs time.
He needs time.
He needs more time, and he needs more time than everybody else because he didn't play quarterback as much as everybody else did.
The Dolphins spent. The point that I'm saying is the Dolphins spent so much money. This was his year. He had how many draft choices in the first 3 rounds? I'm talking about
6,
Ireland.
6 or 7.
6
He
or
had
7, yeah.
all this money space. It was the Heat season.
Right.
It was the 2010 Heat season where they had all the cap to bring in the guys to push the Dolphins.
All the stars were aligned.
And it's just underwhelming. It's underwhelming how the team ended up being developed together. We're saying the Dolphins spent all that money and they have a lot of playmakers now. That we're saying that they're going to struggle with Cleveland on the road shows that it's going to be a long season.
Hey, you just said the Dolphins have all those playmakers. The Dolphins don't have a playmaker.
I'm talking from
their perspective, they can't convince me that we have a play. Who is the playmaker we have? Mike Wallace?
Yeah.
Cameron?
But that's a home. That's home.
Cameron?
Cameron Wade.
That's on the defensive side of the ball. Playmaker.
Oh, you're talking about
on offense.
on offense?
Yeah. We don't have a
Grimes.
playmaker.
Grimes is also a playmaker.
Agnew?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think Wallace is a playmaker, but I don't know how he fits as the one you're relying on the whole way. He's the home run swing, and you don't get by on that. You need something to hang your hat on, and bombing it downfield and hoping he outruns someone is not what you want.
These guys that have 3 catches for 97 yards or 2 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown, they are not game breakers. They are not playmakers. They're guys that make a play during the course of a game, but you don't win with that. You win with a guy that has 9 receptions for 112.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you win with. You don't win with a guy that just goes 1 catch for 60 yards.
We had a guy that win 9 catches for 100 yards every game, and
we could not get into the end zone.
He ran out of bounds. He did. So the Dolphins play Cleveland week 1. Let's just get into the schedule.
Dale.
This is the reason why we're all here. So they face the Cleveland
I was
Browns.
here to eat.
True. I don't even know why you're here.
I don't either.
The Dolphins
To be honest with you.
go to play the Cleveland Browns in week 1. This is how I'll phrase it. Anyone disagree with a win?
Nope.
Okay, so we're all pretty fair on the Dolphins going on the road and beating Cleveland, which is not going to be easy. But
I'm very partly cloudy on that.
Me too.
I really am, to be honest with you.
Then-
But the fact that they have to win that game, I think the Dolphins know they have to win that football game, Chris.
right,
I really am convinced that this organization is putting across to those 53 men that we have to win this football game. This is not game 1 of the year for us.
This is Super Bowl.
This is game. This is the
can't-
game that gets us to the playoffs.
Must
They got to
win.
win
You
that
can't
game.
say that.
Must
You
win.
can't
Your
say
season's on the
that.
line.
You can't say this is the one that gets them to the playoffs.
When you
It's
take
game
a look,
1.
when you take a look at that schedule,
We'll get into it.
Okay.
We'll get into it.
then we'll
But you say
we'll
it's a
come
win.
back.
But you say it's a win.
I want
said
it.
it's a win.
I want it to be a win.
A decade of depression is slowly chipping his hope away.
I want it to be a win.
So they go on the road then next week, go at Indianapolis. They were in Indy last year, and they lost. It's another 1 o'clock game. Is anyone against a loss
That's what
on
I
the
expect.
road? On the road at Indy.
I expect them to get torched.
They didn't last year.
Well, they didn't because they had 3 drop touchdown passes by the Colts.
So no one's against a loss then on the road.
I don't see them winning.
No,
Fully
I don't see them
expecting it.
winning.
Okay. Then they go on the road. Oh, no, then they're home for a 4 o'clock start on Fox. I don't like it when the Dolphins play on Fox. But either way, they go on the road. I mean, they're at home. The Falcons go on the road, and they play Atlanta. This was the team that made it to the NFC Championship game. They reloaded a weak position at running back.
Just be straight, man. Tell them this is the Super Bowl representative for the NFC. Just say it.
I wouldn't say that.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Watch.
But it's a contender. It's by far a
Yeah.
contender. This is a
Yeah.
this is a 10-win team plus.
Yeah.
Is anyone against a loss
No.
at home?
I'm not sure a loss will properly describe what would happen in that game.
I think Atlanta wins that game handily.
Some
Bro,
Julio Jones.
Miami last year didn't get blown out many times.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, how many games?
I'm gonna look it up. But remember the Tennessee game?
Give me a
I
second.
didn't say they didn't get blown out. I
Right.
said they didn't
No,
didn't happen
I'll
many
look
times.
it up right now. I'll look it up right now. But they
Miami's got a very good defense. Is what it is.
Right, but
That's why they
That's
don't
fine,
get blown
but
out.
if that defense is out there for an hour at a time, they're
Really?
eventually going to start giving up plays.
I mean, that's
Oh,
what's
no,
going.
yeah.
That's when it's going to come in when you said that if Tannehill plays well, in these games like this against the Falcons, against the Ravens, Tannehill's got to play very, very well. And we can't turn the ball over at all because the defense is going to be out there because these guys are going to run the football and
Who's
go
this?
on 8 or the Falcons are and the Ravens are. They're going to go on 10 and 15 play drives. Both those teams.
Actually, you know what? I would consider it more than 10 points
I
is
don't
a
know.
blowout.
More than 10.
13 points and on is a blowout
All right.
in the
So
NFL.
how many times?
So let's see. We've got Houston. They lost by 20.
Right.
Let
I
me
remember
see.
that.
3-point game Jets. 3-point game Arizona.
Oof,
3-point
that was a
game
blowout.
Indy. Oof. Tennessee. 34.
Yes.
All right.
Continue.
5-point game Buffalo.
Okay.
Let me see. Do the math. 7.
Where-
7-point game New England.
Okay.
They lost 30-9 to the Jets.
Yeah.
That's 3, 4.
All right. 27-13 San Francisco.
5.
That is more than 14, so
Yeah.
we'll count that.
Yeah.
And New England 28-0.
And did you see Jacksonville and Buffalo? Did you say that too?
Huh?
Jacksonville beat them 24-3. Oh, no,
Seven?
they beat them.
Yeah,
No,
those
sorry,
are
they
those
beat-
are
yeah,
those
yeah,
are unusual blowouts.
6
for us.
games.
for the opposite side, yeah.
No, 5 games.
5 games?
5 games.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
3.
1, yeah.
5 of the 16. So
They got blown out
almost a
by
third.
Five,
Houston?
five of the 9 losses were blowouts.
They got blown out by Houston,
right?
by San Francisco,
right?
Tennessee.
Tennessee
The
which
Jets-
is
Tennessee.
the
not very
Jets-
good.
The Jets.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
very
but
good.
whatever.
and New
In
England.
New England.
So they got blown out by 3 of the top teams in the NFL, and they was blown out by 30 points. You know, the Tennessee and the Jets
Are two bad
bad ones.
teams.
they're not. The thing is, look, I've watched football for a long time, and the team that always comes to my mind when I see the Dolphins today, it's the Giants. The Giants had a defensive line that you could not throw against.
They had a Hall of Famer. Osi Umenyiora was one of the top guys on the line, and they had Justin Tuck, which was in the midst of becoming a Pro Bowler.
And they had
Okay.
very
and
solid
you have,
receivers.
and you have that in the Dolphins. You have Cameron Wake, which he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's a stud.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, he's not. Well, but let's not. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
matter.
It's a little early.
You got
that you're comparing to the 2007
no.
pass rush.
Listen to what I'm thinking about. Okay, I'm not saying that they're going to beat the Giants. I'm not saying that. Okay, what I am saying is when you have a very good front seven,
They're built like that.
and they're built the same way. That's why they drafted this kid from Oregon. That's the way they're thinking. That's their thinking. Do I agree with it? No. I would have drafted I would have stayed in my position and drafted a tight end from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
You know, that's what I would have done. But what I see they're doing, it's that. And the front seven for the Dolphins is pretty good. And if Vernon or the Oregon Jordan
Deion
kid,
Jordan,
comes out and it's good, we're going to be tough. Because whoever lines up against on the other side of Wake, if he's any good, he's going to get a lot of sacks.
Now they are going to be good at a pass rush. They weren't that good against the run last year.
Well, rank what?
Opponent rushing yards, Miami was 13th in the league, 108 per game.
Yeah.
So they're middle of the road.
No, that 32 divided by 2, it's not 13, but okay.
close enough.
Middle of the road.
A little bit less than middle.
So then after the Falcons loss, so now you're going on 2 losses in a row. Maybe 2.5 if you're going to count Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Then they host.
No, they go.
No, they go to New Orleans.
They go to New
Then
Orleans.
they go to New Orleans for an ESPN. I think that's Sunday night game. At New Orleans in the Superdome.
Hey, we almost beat New Orleans.
on a
Cleveland.
Sunday afternoon
No,
in New Orleans.
No, that's a Monday.
I would give them a
Oh,
chance.
it's a Monday.
that's a Monday game.
I would give them a chance in an evening Sunday night or Monday night game. I don't give them a chance.
In
In New Orleans, I do not give them a chance.
Based on last year, no. You have to say no.
I mean, they weren't that good last year. They lost a lot of games. They didn't
And
make
I
the
don't think
playoffs.
the Saints are going to be that good either this year. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. Their defense is going to be porous, and I think that'll be a high-scoring game. But in a high-scoring game, I'm going with Colston.
no,
I'm
no,
going with Breeze.
forget
I'm going with their tight end.
No, it's a nonsense.
So I think
know.
that could be a 34-24 game, but I just don't see how the Dolphins outscore them.
Okay, if that's the case, then they go the next game. They're finally home again. This is October 6th on a 1 o'clock game against the Baltimore Super Bowl champion Ravens.
They'll bleep that up.
And I think they'll beat the Ravens.
No.
So is
You
anyone
put me down for a win.
for a win? No, I mean I'm
Yes.
not going to take score, but make the argument of why it would be a win.
I'm taking.
I
score. I'm
think
writing
I
it
think
down.
I think the Ravens are in disarray right now. I think they've lost too many players, and they're not. They're basically rebuilding from last year. They've lost that many players through free agency, retirement. They are. They're good. They're a brand new team. They may be better, but I don't think so. That's what I think.
I'm gonna go
not
with
good
the I'm gonna go with the
Say it again?
Ravens.
It's not good enough for me. That didn't convince me.
I'm
enough
gonna
to
go with
say.
the Ravens, and I'm gonna go with the Ravens for a simple reason. Ozzie Newsome. He's not gonna play a down in this game, but as a general manager, he's shown me that when he
Yeah.
needs a spot, he fills the spot.
Oh yeah.
And he's done that on the interior line, and he's done that at the linebacking position, and he's done that at the tight end position, and he's drafted well. And I think that he's got a core of players there that he knew he could afford to let Ed Reed go, and he knew that he wasn't going to panic when Ray Lewis left.
And they traded away.
And they
Holden.
let Ellerby go. They let Ellerby go. They could have kept him if they wanted to.
Yeah.
They let Ellerby go. They know what they got in that locker room, and I'm going to trust until I'm proven wrong that Ozzie Newsome knows what he's doing.
He's definitely, to me, that's probably the best general manager in football.
Without question, I think.
Yeah.
Right now.
Alan, so you would say it's a loss then there too?
Oh yeah.
So 3 out of the 4, the Dolphins are looking at a 1-4 start right now.
You taking notes?
I am.
They
I
go-
am recording everything.
They
Good.
go to, we're recording on everything. They go to the bye week 6, which is a little bit early. I kinda,
Yeah, we're not gonna lose that week.
I kind of want the buys later on in the year.
After that schedule, they need a bye.
Yeah,
Then-
you're right.
Then they take a breather. They're home to
This
the
is
Buffalo
when
Bills.
this is when I think they bring in Tim Tebow the week before, and they put in the Wildcat.
Are you talking about Buffalo or us?
No, for Buffalo, us to play
For
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
For Buffalo, and then we cut them after we win.
I think the Buffalo, whether they start EJ Manuel or Toole or
No,
anybody
it's
else.
EJ Manuel's got a job. They already announced it.
Yeah, I know, but who knows how he's
keep
going to
it.
play.
He's going to be a pretty good quarterback, I think.
I think the Dolphins, they've held their own against the Buffalo Bills.
It's at home.
I think they won. Didn't they beat them on the road last year?
Yeah, but it's at home. I think they'll be okay at home. I think they'll be okay against the Bills at home.
Yeah, they won. Yeah. So
I think the Bills' coaching leaves a lot to be desired. I think they're okay with their talent level is not horrible.
they have weapons. Stevie Johnson
They
can
do.
run.
and they
CJ
can-
Spiller's a stud,
yeah. So
And
I
they still have Fred Jackson.
and they
Yeah.
still have Fred Jackson.
So I think that a lot of it hinges on how that quarterback position goes. Their defense looks like it's growing a little bit. It may not be as easy as all that, and I think they split with the Bills this year, and I think it'll be home and home.
the next game after that. So everyone's pretty much. Is anyone against a win on that one?
No, by that
Buffalo,
time,
no.
By that time, they're so desperate they have to win that game.
So it's 2-4. Then they go on the road to New England.
Here's where it gets ugly again.
On the road to New England, Dolphins have always struggled in Foxborough. How'd they fare last year? Was that the blowout?
It'll-
Yes, it was.
I think they
It'll
split.
be late October, early November. It's going to be probably in the
It's
30
it's
degrees.
October 27th.
Yeah, it'll be 30 degrees. It'll be close to Halloween. They're going to get their ass kicked.
It doesn't look good. So is
No.
anyone gonna make the argument for a win at New England?
George.
No, he's
No,
not
no,
doing
I
that.
think
he's
that-
not doing
Okay, so 2-5 right now. Then they have a few days rest and back to the game again. They're hosting the Bengals on Thursday Night Football.
that. I think that was key what you just said. That's a short week.
Yeah.
That's a short week, and I think that this could be the massacre of the season for them. This could be the worst game that the Dolphins have this year.
Really?
I agree with you.
They're gonna get beaten like a redheaded stepchild.
I think
Cincinnati's pretty good.
I
By a
think
redheaded stepchild.
that's a surprise team right there. That team can really scare people. I like that football team.
What are you gonna go as far that they win the division? Their division, the Cincinnati Bengals.
I think it's a
Yeah,
toss up
I-
between them and Baltimore. It'll be those two.
I think
Pittsburgh's
that's
behind them.
who's going to run. I think Pittsburgh finishes third in that division this year.
Okay.
Wow.
So is anyone gonna make an argument for a win?
No,
I'll make the argument for the win.
go ahead, make it.
The Cincinnati Bengals, they have very good playmakers. I always feel that the Dolphins, in every regular season, they're going to win a game that they shouldn't win. They're going to lose a game that they shouldn't win, and that they should have lost. And then,
The others break out.
yeah, the other way, the talent more or less evens out. This is the game that the Dolphins should not win because they're at home, Thursday night game.
And that's your reason?
Yeah.
You're fired.
Why?
You're fired.
It's not substantial. I mean, I thought you were going to give me something.
Yeah,
about
that I can hold
can't.
on
What-
to.
what-
They'll
What
stop
can I
the-
give you?
I mean,
Gus?
I'll tell him about the Baltimore Ravens losing all these guys, and they're like, he's
He-
like,
he-
oh, that's not convincing
You
enough.
didn't convince me. That's what
because
he
you
said.
still have Joe Flacco. They
I
still have-
remember.
they
I
still
remember.
have
I remember what he said. He said you didn't convince me.
I know.
I said it wasn't
And he's
enough. What?
And what he gave you,
I'm done.
What he gave you now
You
was
know,
enough.
what the, you know,
George?
you know,
No.
you know what the
No.
NFL should do since this team is going to be so good. They should break up the Bengals because they're going to win so many games. That's the kind of analysis I should have said.
Well,
You're right.
It's okay because James Harrison is going to break up the Bengals on
Yeah.
one rage fit that he's going to kill everyone in that locker room.
You're right.
That is not a defensive line to be messed around with.
No, I think
Oh,
I
they're
watched
good. They're
was
a
the-
good team.
That's going to be a good.
They're a
football
very
team.
good team.
their
They're a
defensive
very good team.
tackle is supposed to be spectacular.
And I think
Well,
one
they're
of the,
very
their
good.
tight end was good, and I'll be surprised
And
if
then they
this year
added it. Yeah.
they added Eifert, and I think that's what's going to happen, man. They're going to use Grissom all the way to the 20. When they get to that 20, bring in the 6'8" kid, man. And just
Oh, how
drop
about-
it in
They'll
there.
do the New England style. They'll
yeah,
have-
how
they'll
about
have
going
the
double
dual-
tight end? Yeah.
I would have been so happy if we would have picked up that kid, man.
Move on to the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers, they go on the road. This is another Monday night game. 2 Monday night games for the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Oh, my
They
God.
got high expectations.
We spent a lot of money.
Like
People
I
wa-
did.
People want to see us in our new jerseys.
Is anyone going to make a case that the Dolphins win this game? On the road in Tampa Bay.
No, it's away, so you always give the
The
The-
only chance they have is if Josh implodes.
yeah.
Josh Freeman implodes and has one of those 3-pick games, the Dolphins can win. Aside from that, I do not give them a shot in this game.
So no one's going to say a win then.
No.
So
No, I'll say they win.
they win on the road at Tampa Bay
Yeah.
because they beat them in the preseason?
No,
Big-
because
bigger-
you know the Dolphins always win a game that's supposed to lose and lose
Right.
a game that's supposed to win, and I think
And
That's
then
a fair argument.
that's my game.
Everybody gets one.
That's my
and then
game.
the others just shake out,
Thank you,
George.
Spider-Man.
Everybody gets one. So if you're looking at the schedule, the Dolphins are going to start off 2-7 according to our calculations.
That's pretty much
Well-
what I said early on.
2-7.
Actually, Sanch, you have them at 3-6.
Well, no, I think they're going to win in a few other games, but
Well,
I'm saying
as
unanimous.
of this point,
Unanimous,
you
yeah.
have it 3. Me and Carlos are at 2, and George, you have them with 4.
so I'm good.
Good job, George.
Okay, but either way, they're not close to 500 football.
No.
Absolutely not.
Then they go. I'll just rattle out a few wins and losses. Tell me if you think it's going to be a win, okay? Because I'm going to assume it's a loss. The Chargers,
Lost.
I think so.
Win.
I'm gonna go with your.
they're at home.
So let's see. George win. Carlos loss. Sanch loss.
No, I think they win. They beat the Chargers. Philip Rivers. The Panthers.
Win.
Win.
Loss.
I think they lose to the Panthers big. I think it's going to be a huge loss, big time. Then they go on the road to
Wait,
face.
Are you tainted by the fact you have their quarterback on your fantasy league? I'm wondering if that's what's leaning. That's the one game a year you're hoping. You're like, damn,
They're
the
gonna
Dolphins.
lose
The
big.
hell with the Dolphins.
I think that is 1 week that he doesn't play Cameron. in a
What?
game.
He gets hurt the week before.
I don't think you play him that week.
Hey,
against
look.
that
Oh,
pass
the
rush.
Dolphins.
Nope.
Oh, come on.
Hey, this guy drafted a Jet. He is not that loyal.
Speaking of,
You're right.
The Dolphins go on the road to New York, and they face the Jets for the first time. This is December 1st, so this is going to be.
Lost. I mean, win.
There's no way I'm
No
going to
way.
predict that the Jets beat the Dolphins.
Hell no.
I can't do it. I'd rather be wrong.
No, the Jets are terrible.
Yeah, they're just really, really
The
bad.
Jets are. The Jets might win 2-3 games all year.
Yeah.
At the Steelers, that's tough. It's December 8th.
They're not winning there.
I don't think they win there
Nope.
either.
Me neither. George?
No, I think they lose.
New England comes into town for probably like a 65-degree game in Miami, 1:00 start. I think this is going to
That's
be
game 14. That's game 14. It could be the game for the division to clinch the division for the
for
Patriots.
New England.
I think that game, the fact that it's there, if it was game 15 or 16, I would pick the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I think that's
too
the
much is
clinching
in there.
game. That game clinches the playoffs for the Pats.
The division?
The division for
The
them.
division.
They're going to
and-
have the division one week
well, they're gonna
before
have
that.
it anyway, but they could be fighting
Yeah,
for a bye week.
But, we're talking about bye week. And we're talking about home field
Yeah.
advantage. They're not going to give up that game to the Dolphins.
And Brady hates Miami.
Yes, he does.
Not as much as he hates the Jets.
Well, nobody.
He
no,
really
that's
hates the Jets.
universal.
Who likes them?
So George,
Even
New
Ryan.
Yorkers?
Even Ryan doesn't like him.
New Yorkers.
Then they go on
Sanchez.
the road. Then they go on the road to Buffalo. I think this is a loss.
yeah, I do too. I think they're gonna get caught in a blizzard unless they're playing in London. Are they playing in London this time?
I don't
No.
know. December 22nd. Yeah, I think Buffalo pulls. They win a few in a row at the end,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
that's how they always end their season. And then they finally end the season at
Win,
home
win,
against
win,
the Jets.
win.
I
That'll
would,
be the-
I would
that'll be
love
the
to say
morale
win,
victory.
but that's the thing where by then everybody's already quit on the team, including the team, and I think they just go out there through the motions, and they get pasted by the Jets.
Win for me.
No, yeah, they're gonna beat the Jets. The Jets are really, really.
The
I
Jets
think
ha- Jets
the,
have to
Jet-
find
the
a way
Jets
to
are the
win one
worst.
here.
They're the worst team in football.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're right.
No, I mean, who
No, they are the worst team in football.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the Dolphins
Lost.
go ahead and win
Lost.
this game.
Who
I just
can
don't
you
see
make?
it.
Who can you make an argument that's worse than the Jets? I mean, because even look what happened in 2 years. The NFC North, West. The NFC West had a 7-9 playoff team.
Yeah.
And now they have 2 Super Bowl contenders.
One of them is that 7-9 team.
Right. I mean, who can you say? Oakland. I mean, they're.
I think Oakland's pretty bad. I mean, they're starting their fifth new quarterback in 5 years.
Oh, in
That's
Seattle.
pretty amazing. In the last 5 years, they've started 5 different quarterbacks on opening day. That's pretty impressive.
I mean, the Jets are going to be really stinky.
I'd love to see a Jet Raider game.
No, what?
Yes.
I would love to see. You know what I would love to see?
6-9.
You know what I would love to see? The Jets go 0-16.
No, because they didn't get the first pick. Just
I
win
don't
2.
care.
Just win 2.
They'll pick somebody who's bad. It don't matter.
No, they're going to get clowny.
And then he'll be in our face for like the next 8
I
years.
lost. I lost track of the record, Alan. What?
I
what's
got this. I got
the
this.
overall consensus. Don't break it down, but I mean,
No. This is very simple.
Okay.
It's
The
very
complete
simple.
pessimist are me and Carlos with 4-12 each of us. The slightly
That's even
improved.
worse. That's even worse than I thought.
Yeah, the slightly improved feelings are you, Sanch, with 6-10,
That sounds more reasonable.
and then the eternal optimist is George
8
with
and
an
8.
8-8 and a 4-game winning streak in the middle of the season.
That's right.
That will never happen. They may win 8, I guess,
No.
somewhere, but I can't. Now that you say it and you enunciate the numbers, I don't believe that the Dolphins can only win 4 games. I don't believe they can be worse than last year.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know.
But their schedule is a little bit more difficult
See?
than it
Yeah,
was last year.
It's all schedule on this one because there's just more problems.
You know,
there.
there are a couple games there, like the Chargers and the Buccaneer game, where they could maybe pull that out and get it from 4 to 6 or something.
I think the Dolphins can win on the road pretty early.
Oh, now you're going to change your mind.
No, I'm just.
Why don't we go back to the list and you can do it again?
Indianapolis. I think they can go on the road and go early against Indianapolis. I really do. I don't think Indy's. I think they have a great quarterback and they have pretty good weapons. Their defense is to be determined, and the rushing game is whatever. I think they can go on the road and
Well,
get
that
one from
just
They
there.
went to the
that just-
playoffs last year. I don't know if you know that.
That just
They did.
tells
Okay.
me that
But they
that
started off really bad.
the Dolphins' strength against their weakness and their weakness against our strength and vice versa. I mean, you know, they're going to throw the football against us.
Yeah,
and
but
we're
they
going to try
got,
to run the football against
they
them.
got Andrew Luck.
And they- yeah.
Let's see. Andrew Luck.
Reggie Wayne.
Andrew Luck.
T.Y.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't realize, this is not a visual medium. George has a hand up in the air when he says Andrew Luck.
He's
and when he
doing
goes,
He's
What?
weighing. He's
yeah.
weighing.
He's weighing them out.
There.
Scales.
Everybody
Mind you,
knows I'm doing my hand.
No
bro.
one else can see this except the
Scales-
people
he-
in this room.
He's,
I
he's doing
actually-
the scales of justice.
I actually forget that we're actually talking. But might be somebody listening to us besides ourselves.
No, everyone's tuned out by now.
Yeah.
Listen, so let's just reach to the end of the train tracks here. The Dolphins, they go anywhere between 4-12 and 7-9, 8-8.
At
8 and
best,
8.
At best.
For
8
me.
and 8. Okay, at best 8 and 8. Okay, what happens then?
I think if
Because we started off 2-7. You think Jeff Allen gets fired at that point?
I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, what is the role of a general manager after you're 2-7? I mean, you can basically leave the office locked and turn off the light. It doesn't really matter at that point. So you know what? Take your little family, pack them up, and move up somewhere, man. Because it's just not going to work here.
Do you think he makes one of those? Because the NFL's not known for their trades.
No trades.
So no trades?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the Dolphins make a trade. I think they're too stubborn and too set in their ways to make believe that they made a mistake and make a trade to try to improve a team, and I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Nobody else. So the Dolphins are going to be bad again.
I have them the first 6 games. I have them 3-3.
But they're gonna.
Yeah,
I mean, so
they do.
I mean, either way, 8-8 is not good. They're not making the playoffs.
No,
at 8
it's
and 8.
not good.
So it's gonna be another year of mediocrity and indifference.
I'm gonna. You
Of
want me to
course,
tell
they're the
you?
Dolphins.
Let's put it this way: if they go 4-12, Ireland goes back to Ireland. Okay, they're gonna deport them. Okay.
So what's
Did you work hard on that one?
what's the
No.
cutoff? What's the cutoff? At what point does Jeff Ireland get? Because remember, his contract is over. He's working on his last year here.
He might just.
Okay,
they might-
at what point do they just let him walk?
At the
In my
bye,
opinion,
don't you think it's at the
anything
bye?
below 7 wins, he is in danger of being fired like that. Anything above 7 wins, it depends. 7 to 8 wins, it depends on how Tannehill has played.
I think.
In my opinion,
I think at 8-8, it wholly depends on how the team looks at 8-8. If they look like they progress, like you're saying, then I'm sorry, Carlos, you're gonna have another year of this.
How does this work? No, it's not going to be. It's not a 1-year thing because they got to sign him to a
No,
contract.
I
So
agree.
he's going to get 3 or 5. But how do you justify? How do you justify keeping this clown around if the Dolphins win 6, 7, or 8 or 9 games and don't even sniff the playoffs? If come October or November, we are not watching a meaningful football game, hoping that we win and somebody loses to get into the playoffs as a wild card or a backdoor playoff team. How is that not a fireable offense after all these years?
It's not, because in his iPhone he has a Dropbox full of pictures of Stephen Ross and various
sex
farm
with
animals.
mules.
Yeah, there's farm animals and possibly some leather, and that's how he survived.
It's surprising how he's made it this far.
It's utterly frustrating. If that happens, I mean, again, we started the segment, we started the show by enunciating the excitement that we have and
It's
how
true.
we feel.
It's true.
And I'm still fired up and excited about this season because the Hurricanes are playing, and I want to see the improvement of specific players on the Dolphins team. You know what? I want to see them do well. You wouldn't know that by anything I've said the last 24 minutes. But I do want to see them do well. It's my team, the team that I love, and I've watched for 35, 40 years now.
Right.
But I just don't see it on the field.
For me, I think there's only really 3 or 4 absolute for sure losses. I don't think they're going to win that many games, but I think hosting Cincinnati on the short, going to New England in Miami late in the regular season, and then I guess hosting the Falcons. Other than that, everything else is the Dolphins. You would think that they would be better.
Well, isn't that the case with everybody's schedule? That there's 4 or 5 games that they're going to lose, and there's like 8 or 9 that are up in the air.
Yeah.
And I think that's no different here because at the end of the day, they are professional athletes.
Eh.
I think a little less talented than most, but they are still professional athletes.
we got Ignu.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have them.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to break. We're gonna re-energize because
Can I go smoke?
no, man. You're gonna cut down another tobacco plant and grow it and shear it and
It's like Blood Diamond, bro. You ever see that movie? It's the same thing with cigars and cigarettes and tobacco. Your habit is killing other people, not just you, man. There are other people that are working like slaves and they're working like animals, getting paid like $250 a year to cut down and work 17-hour days just because you decided you want to inhale goddamn smoke. Man, have empathy or pity for other people. Don't just worry about you.
the title of this song is pretty fitting for the Dolphin regular season. What's the name of this song?
Harvester of Sorrow.
For those that didn't understand that English, it was called Harvester of Sorrow. How come I can't hear it? There you are. Anyway, welcome back to the Sports Table. I have to give an apology to everyone out there that was just listening through what we just put out. I'm kind of ashamed. I'm kind of ashamed of what we just did.
Well, delete it and start over. Nobody's listening
can't
live.
do
But if we delete it, then our listeners don't know what we think of the season. And
Yeah,
then they
but-
can't make fun of us when we're wrong.
I mean, I don't. I
Or
don't
when I'm right.
First of all, I don't know that anybody's going to sit through that diatribe of bullshit we just put
Yeah,
on the
seriously.
air.
You think they're just going to all skip forward on
Oh,
YouTube?
That's what I would do. In fact, when I listen to it, that's what I'm going to do.
It was rough, and as I was going through it, it was one of those things like passing a turd that hurts. You just gotta. I started it. I had to finish it. You know, it was a lot. This is the aspect that we should have talked about the Dolphins, not the X's and O's and breaking down. Because again, the whole angle to this show is that we don't know more than anybody else, and the people on TV, you know, barring the guys that actually have the film in their hands, they don't know that much more than we do. They just have a mic and they have an outlet that reaches more people. The thing that I always strive, and I'm just talking now just to you guys, the listeners, and everyone here in the studio, just be entertaining, right? And Le Batard is the reason why I wanted to get into radio at all. And I always wonder, how would Le Batard go about this way, go about a topic in a certain light? He would have hated this last
Oh, we just did a Stu Gatz.
Stu Gatz would have loved it.
Yeah.
Stu Gatz would have promoted the hell out of what we just did.
Now I'm ashamed.
Right?
Now the shame hit. Oh.
But it's not really what I want to strive for. The conversation we had for 5 minutes in the break was infinitely more interesting than what we just talked about. I'm going to bring it up because George wasn't even here, and we got to get into a little bit more. After what we think of the Dolphins not having, let's just say they don't have a playoff, they miss the playoffs again for another year, okay? Whether they end up 8-8 and miss the playoffs, or they have a terrible season in the top 5 in the draft, again, they're going to miss the playoffs again, okay? Again. The Dolphins, the hardest part for me as a fan, who's breathing into the mic?
This stopped me.
So someone's going, is that you?
Yeah, he's the only person in front of his
you're
mic.
the only one that eats the
Me and
mic.
Carlos are off to the side.
Anyway, the thing that's the toughest as a Dolphin fan, this is the angle that we should have talked about, is that they're not interesting. The 3 most interesting stories about the Dolphins, and they spent the most money. They had the most offseason moves, okay? The 3 most interesting stories about the Dolphins was a birthday cake and 2 offensive linemen, and that's it. That's it. That's all. That's the only interesting thing. That's the only thing that made a move on the meters that piqued my interest, really. Everything else was just blah. And they spent the most money. This was supposed to be their off season. Not even their draft choice was interesting. Nothing. Okay? They had Pouncey wanting to free Hernandez. That's interesting. They had Incognito getting into a fight. Maybe he didn't get into a fight. That was wrong by Schefter. And then he comes out with a Darlington piece that he suffers from dementia and he suffers from, depression.
He might just be saying not to get involved in a lawsuit, by the way.
Well, that's sad if that's the case. And then the other thing, what was in the third one? Oh,
Brent Grimes and
Brent
his
Grimes,
birthday cake.
His birthday cake. That's it.
Times.
What's been for you? Okay, look back through your Rolodex. In the last, I'll give you 5 to 7 years. The most interesting thing about the Miami Dolphins was blank.
The birthday cakes are up there.
Mike
That was
Wallace
some
being
funny stuff.
signed.
Mike Wallace being signed. If that's interesting to you, we have to talk off air.
It is.
Because even the Jets, which have sucked for a long time, they were interesting with Rex Ryan. They're at least interesting, entertaining, something. You know what I mean? There's been nothing from the Dolphins. Nothing.
Does enjoying the car wreck of Cam Cameron count? Because from the get-go, that was going to go bad. And I just wanted to watch the world burn on that one.
That was good.
Yeah,
That is good.
that's about it's that, the birthday cakes, songs on Le Batard's show.
So you're saying a 1-in-15 season, a guy with a penis cake, in the last 7 years about that's interesting.
I'm trying to
about
think.
this
I mean,
team.
Absolutely not. I think you're all completely way off base. I think the most interesting thing with the Dolphins in the last half dozen years has been the way that administration and Ross, Ireland, and Mike D, who's now with the San Diego Padres, try to fleece this community and steal their money into building them a new stadium, painting their stadium, fixing their stadium so that they can make more money off of us. I think that's the most interesting thing.
And you know what? That was in this offseason, so I'll count that in. But I mean,
know.
even that's just
Yeah,
it's
that's
numbers game.
standard
It's voting,
operations.
it's politics,
Right,
and
right.
yeah, standard operations for pro teams.
And that would only entertain certain people.
right.
So it did
Let-
catch my attention.
let me ask
because
you a
they've
question.
done nothing to. There's nothing that's happened within this organization in the last 6 or 7 years that has made me want to stop what I'm doing and go check out what's going on.
Because even New England, this has been a terrible offseason for them. It's still interesting. When they're losing guys, it's because they're getting convicted of murder. You know what I mean? There's still something there. Detroit, all their guys are getting arrested.
Gronkowski's dancing shirtless in
Yeah.
the club.
Gronky Kong.
Ben Roethlisberger is being accused of rape. You know what I mean? Like other teams, when they're going through their offseason, at least it's interesting now.
Not that
Okay.
we
No,
want.
wait a
that.
minute. You're counting
He's not
misbehavior
as a
as
fan.
interesting.
I'm talking. Well, it is
So,
interesting.
so
First
you're
of all,
saying that because the Dolphins don't misbehave, that's why they're boring?
I'm saying
they can't just be fun because they're
saying
fun?
it's one of those things where at least it's something. Like Mike Pouncey is something, and that even went away. That was there for maybe a weekend, and then it was done. Like there's in the last 6 years, Alan, there's been a weekend of interesting news about the Dolphins. That's it.
But even the Pouncey thing you said was very, very short lived, and I think it was there for a weekend, but it really didn't get much play even during that time.
Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
Because of the commercial. How much interesting have the Bengals been in the past 7 years?
The Bengals have a
lot.
Really?
that
Well,
guy-
they
Really?
had Chad Johnson.
Well, they had
guy-
Chad
the
Johnson
guy
with
that-
So do we.
overall, it was good.
So do we.
They had Chris Henry, a crazy man, riding in the back of a pickup
he
truck, getting
died.
killed.
Yeah, he died.
I
dude.
mean, chasing women and killing women.
They had Corey Dillon setting a single game record. They
I think that was more than 6 years ago.
Yeah, it probably was. But I'm
Yes.
trying to think over the course of the Bengals.
You know
the Bengals
why
have
the-
been
the-
interesting.
the
the
Dolphins-
Alabama lineman that nobody wanted drafted, the guy with the huge titties that ran,
oh wait,
Yes.
in
is
his
that the one
40?
with the belly is always out?
Yeah.
You know
dude.
I
why?
love that guy.
You know why Cincinnati and Cleveland and the Dolphins?
No,
and-
Cleveland is just as bad as the Dolphins. I
Yeah,
think.
they're
No, there's a
boring as
bunch
hell,
of
too.
teams like that because they don't make any difference. There is good teams, really bad teams, and then there's
4 great
the
teams.
Dolphins,
which is in the middle.
which is in the middle. They don't make any difference whatsoever, and they're not going to make any use. And you guys watch ESPN all the time and the NFL Network, and they never come up on it because they're not very interesting. Because no matter what happens, nobody cares.
Well, it's not that, George. It's that you're right in 3/4 of what you said. They're not very interesting and nobody cares. But there's a reason why they're not very interesting and nobody cares, and that starts at the front office.
No,
They don't have the players that make this interesting.
Yeah, they cut.
No,
Memphis
I
and
agree.
McNutt.
I agree with you 100%. The reason why we're in the boat we're in, it's because of the front office.
Absolutely.
There's no questions about that. None.
We could
They
have had
suck.
McNutt. We could have had McNutt. At least we could laugh at a guy's name on our team.
If you think about it, how many front office? We've had 3 regimes, 3 front office regimes. I mean, what are we talking about?
Wait.
We're talking about Bill Parcells, Jeff Ireland, Nick Saban, Cam Cameron. Like that's 4 different people in the last 8 years. So all four sets of teams have been uninteresting, have made terrible mistakes.
You know what? You know what? Now that you brought Nick Saban up,
Yeah, I think
that
that
might
one.
be the most interesting thing
True.
that's
Yeah,
happened.
the two
in this
Saban years.
two-
We had a
two-
guy
two-
crying. We had this
We
guy
had-
coming back.
Yeah.
When you have Matt Millen,
Oh god.
when you have Chris Spielman, and when you have Jeff Ireland all in the same conversation, you know that your general manager is not very highly sought or thought of. And that's the problem we've had the last 6 or 7 years. Then you bring Parcell in at the tail end of his career to try to dominate and run an organization.
He didn't even do anything.
The way he ran the 1980 Giants, and we saw what kind of a disaster that was.
he didn't even do anything.
He did nothing but collect a paycheck.
Was it Huizinga falling to his knees when they won their one game, 1-16? I'm trying to think of the highlight moments of this Dolphins team.
How many
I can't.
episodes was Chad Johnson on? Because that was interesting.
Okay,
Because Chad could have at least been interesting to have around, but
but I think he was honestly he got cut maybe in the second or third preseason game.
no, he did. Yeah, was that?
So
But it was
so he made it to 3
Very
episodes.
early. Very early.
yeah.
2 episodes at the the Dolphins. For me as a Dolphin fan, they're hard to follow because they're so mediocre and they're so boring. They're just boring. They're bogey. If we're gonna do it in regards
in a
to
league that makes it so you should get better once you're bad, the Dolphins have stuck around, floating in an area where they never get bad, but they never get good. They never have too much. They never have any personality, but they don't misbehave enough to talk about. They're just in purgatory, always.
That's very well put.
Thank you.
That is. I'm surprised that you said it. But
And you know what? I don't think there's much with this. Again, let's go to the regime again, but I don't think there's much with this coaching staff. I don't see Philbin being the guy that can change something like this. I just don't see it.
because you know what?
Why?
Even the
Because
straight
I don't see his demeanor. I don't see that fire that Mike Tomlin's a very quiet guy on the sidelines for the Steelers, but you see him fired up and you see him yelling and screaming. You see him running downfield on a play. I don't see that. I don't see that drive in Philbin.
But
he may be, but I don't see it.
I see because the thing is, I don't think you have to have that in order for it to be successful or interesting. Because Tony Dungy was interesting, and he was the most straight-laced guy at any coach. I mean, like he was interesting because he had his values, and it was a weird dynamic to have the NFL locker room and then Dungy be the head of it. You know what I mean? At least that's some sort of drama there.
It helped his
Dolphins
life, obviously, to have one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Oh, yeah.
No, but even before that, to be the Bucks had plenty of interesting people that were their talents.
Oh, sure they did.
So Dungy, who was interesting because of the difference, also had teams full of people that you actually kind of wanted to know about because they were interesting in and of themselves. The Dolphins never have that at all. The most interesting thing we have is Incognito, who might get in a fight and is probably the dirtiest player in the league. That's it.
Let's look at it this way. Mike Pouncey's probably the only draft pick in a long time that I as a Dolphin fan am rooting for.
Well, he's the only draft pick in the last 68 draft choices that the Dolphins have that is a starting all-pro player.
Yeah.
He's the only. Think of the Dolphin draft choices and give me an impact player. There isn't one. The only impact player the Dolphins have drafted is a center. That is the impact player that we've drafted, a center.
And it's not
a great one.
And it wasn't great science.
No, it wasn't.
It was not great science.
I mean, one of my kids could have picked it. I mean, that wasn't.
It wasn't great science.
He was by far the best offensive lineman there. And
not only that, they already had identical twin playing on an all-pro level.
Correct, exactly. So
same guy.
Same guy, just in a different uniform.
You know.
And even though, I mean, because my point of, at least he has quotes. Like he's gotten into arguments with other players on other teams. I forgot who was arguing about that. I think it was a Jets guy.
It's the Jets.
Yeah, he's spunky. He's a guy with attitude.
Yeah. He's someone that raised my interest meter. You know what I mean? Other than him, if we're talking about a draft choice, there's been no one because
But again, what are the Dolphins going to say that they're going to be put on ESPN?
No, I'm not even talking about ESPN. I'm talking about locally.
Just even locally.
Even locally. You can't talk crap when you're not very good.
Okay, but if Ryan Tannehill came out and said, this football team's going to win 10 games and we'll go into the playoffs this year, he may be full of crap, but at least we're going to listen and we say, damn, that kid's got some stones. He's coming out and talking, and now we're going to get some conversation about the confidence on this football team or the confidence that this kid has in
or
this
the
football
stupidity
team.
of it.
Or, right. Some of us will call it stupidity. But at least he can stand up and say that, and he doesn't say it.
Last guy we had that I think talked like we're talking about was Stinky Joey Porter.
Yeah.
Or
and
Brandon
I hated
Marshall.
him.
Stinky
I hated him.
Brandon Marshall with that one. I'm not a beast. I'm a monster.
Well, yeah, and he flipped the ball to Jay Cutler in the sideline, which was pretty funny. But I mean, it's mediocrity and it's so boring.
It
man.
is.
It's so boring to be a Dolphin fan, and that's sort of a conversation we should have had. And then another thing is Ryan Tannehill. You sort of laid to rest the whole argument that we had last segment. If Tannehill plays well, the Dolphins are going to do good. If Tannehill doesn't play well, the Dolphins are not.
Actually, it's not just Tannehill. We need the offensive line to be good, and Tannehill to be good. Both.
Okay.
Well, of course, because if you got no line, Tannehill might be walking out on a wheelchair or rolling out on a wheelchair.
I'm convinced, though. I'm convinced, not of greatness, but I'm convinced that Tannehill is a good quarterback. He can play in this league for 10 or 12 years.
You think so?
Because
I'm
so.
not.
I'm convinced.
I'm
convinced he's a good quarterback. I think he's as good as half the quarterbacks out there. Is he a Super Bowl quarterback? I don't think so. I don't know that. But I think that's determined by the team around him. But if the offensive line plays well, I think Tannehill will play well.
And I do too.
I don't think he'll play great. I don't know that he'll play great, but he'll play well.
So if he's just let's say it this way, if he doesn't produce, if he has another season like he had last year, I mean, it's not a fact, but isn't it the theory that the sophomore slump and people sort of regress in their second year in the football in the NFL than their rookie year?
That's been a status quo or a commentary that's made on a regular basis. I mean, we'll get to see what happens to Luck. We'll get to see what happens to RG3 and what happens to Russell Wilson. But that wasn't the case with Kaepernick, was it?
No, I mean, but Kaepernick didn't play
his first year.
But it was his second year in the league. He was sitting down watching somebody. Did that help him, the fact that he sat for a year?
Usually that argument is tied to having played in the first league and then that second season. Once everybody has an entire body of work to plan for. Yeah. So this will be his first season where everyone knows what he can't do, what are his tendencies. So
Eh.
that'll be where the slump could happen.
My question to you guys is, if Tannehill either stays the same, regresses, or is only a little bit better,
Incrementally.
what happens to the Dolphin, the front office? What happens to the team going forward?
Well, I think the team wins 5 or 6 games at best. I think Jeff Ireland gets fired.
Yeah. If they win 5 or 6, he's gone.
I think that the coaching staff will be put on notice that next year's your last year. If you can't get to the playoffs, you're done. And I think
Really,
we'll be
3 years with Philbin, and that's it.
I think Philbin's gone.
I think 3 years is more than enough time.
Yeah.
You
If you
think
can't,
so?
if you can't
No.
win me
Well-
9 or 10 games, forget it.
Okay, if it was 3 years with someone giving you players and you can't do anything, then yeah, it's time to go. The thing is, he came in with what is Sperano's build of players, trying to run what Green Bay's system was. One of the problems the Dolphins have always had is they keep adjusting their management, the way they pick players. So Saban plays one way, and as he starts drafting players for that, he's gone, and here comes the tuna. And the tuna wants to do it this way. They don't have the players for that. Once they do have the players for that, then they switch again. And then here comes Philbin with a team full of 3 yards in a cloud of dust trying to run a West Coast offense. So if he had something competent giving him players, 3 years is enough. But the thing is, I don't know if it's fair to him for 3 years when he's dealing with an O-line that's been trying to be built for the better part of 7 years.
I haven't seen that change in the offense, though. I mean, I saw Seattle change their offense from week 4 on. I saw the Niners change their offense from week 7 on. I saw Washington change their offense from week 1 on.
Baltimore fired Cam Cameron.
Baltimore fired Cam Cameron and went on a completely different tangent. And when you saw the game, when you watched the play calls, when you watched the execution, it was totally different from what they were doing before.
I agree.
I haven't seen that. I don't see different patterns. I don't see different sets. I see a 3-wide, a 2-wide set. I see a single back, and I see them run the ball. That's it, or throw the ball short. That's all I see. I don't see a big difference from what they were doing 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Now, is that a product of the coaching or is that the talent?
I mean, Rick Fox, or is that the name, Rick Fox, the coach from Denver?
Yeah.
He had
Is it Rick
Tim
Fox or
Tebow.
John Fox?
John Fox.
John Fox,
Well, Rick Fox is the
Is the
fellow from
comedian.
the Lakers.
basketball
Oh,
player.
yeah. Anyway, he had Tim Tebow, and he completely remodeled it after he had Kyle Orton.
Well, because he was looking at the apocalypse.
Hey, we
that
talked
Tebow
about
was
that.
gonna throw.
That's not, again, if, ands, and buts, and why, irrelevant to me. He went out, and when we came back next Sunday, he had a totally different offense
Yeah,
on the field.
Completely
And
different.
why is he able to do that with the same people he had in place, yet we can't change that in 3 years of football drafting and picking up free agents on a team when we've turned over the roster almost 100% now in 3 years?
Let me ask you guys a question. What would have happened this year if our first round, if we would have taken a, let's say, left tackle, we would have jumped up and would have taken a left tackle instead of taking Deion Jordan? How would you feel about that?
I probably feel more secure about the line, assuming that kid is actually any good, and then it becomes expecting Tannehill to progress.
Honesty, I would have bitched and complained.
Oh no, absolutely.
And that's
because-
what I think. I agree with you, and I think 99% of the not 99, let's say 90%
Majority.
of the Dolphin fans would have done the same.
But
Now, I do not agree with picking up Deion Jordan. I don't.
Right.
But the problem what I would have had with picking up another offensive lineman was the same problem we've had. We keep picking up first rounders, and they don't work out.
Right, we've been down that road before. Without that would have been my initial thought. Then I step back and say, as a football person, a person that's played or watched this game a lot, I would say that's the way you build a team. I need a strong offensive line to take care of my quarterback, who's going to take me or not take me.
Right.
That's the way I would have.
But I
looked at it.
guarantee you, 99% of the people would have been bitching.
Oh, absolutely, because
Again,
we've been in a decade of purgatory drafting linemen that never work out.
Yep.
Linemen and tight ends.
Yeah, tight ends.
we keep
When was the
drafting.
last time we had a tight end was Randy McMichael.
We keep drafting.
Now,
which is a problem.
who I wanted it, I'm going to tell you the players that I wanted in the draft. The 2 players that I wanted in the draft, and I watch college football, but I really don't follow college football. I wanted the tight end from New Orleans, from Notre Dame,
Eifert.
and I wanted the kid. I don't even know what team they went to. He went to. He played for LSU and got kicked out. Who's a cornerback?
Oh, Tyrann
Honey
Matthews.
Badger.
Honey Badger.
Honey
That's
Badger.
the other guy that I wanted.
He's playing
Arizona.
for Arizona. Yeah, and he's actually
there.
he's going to start.
Yeah, he's there with the other corner that came out.
Peterson.
I seen that kid playing college a couple of games.
He's a player.
He is a player.
If you can keep him away from the weed, he's a player.
Well, weed is not.
Honey
bad
Badger
for you,
don't
bro.
care. Honey Badger smoke weed.
Just the Honey Badger failed test. He don't
But
play.
that's the problem with
Honey
with
Badger don't
picking-
like no test.
I mean, I
He
think
would have been to me akin to taking a Ted Ginn Jr. You're taking a part-time player who's going to play.
who's this?
Tyrann Matthew. He's better known for being a special team star than he is for his acumen as a defensive back.
He was a pretty good defensive back.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
He
was
was
on
a
the-
pretty good defensive
But
back.
he wasn't the defensive back that he was as the special teams player.
And he had taken a year off. Because remember, he
No, and I understand that. It would have been a reach. But I think that's who I wanted. That's the two players that I
But
wanted.
he wasn't a first-round draft choice.
No. I don't know what round he went
He
in.
was the fourth round.
I didn't even know what team he went to.
So in the fourth or fifth round, that's a spectacular pick.
That's who I would have. That's the two players that I wanted.
I was and to add a third one, I wouldn't have put him in there. I would have put in Tavon Austin, who I think is going to be a pretty good receiver.
That would have been nice.
The little guy.
God,
What-
I hope
what-
so. He's on my
He's with
fantasy
St.
team.
Louis now. The Rams have him.
You know who I watched, and I think he looks pretty good too. Was the quarterback for Michigan?
Bernard Robinson?
Yeah,
Denard Robinson.
Denard?
whatever his name is.
Yeah, Denard Robinson.
Yeah, I think he's.
He's a heck of an athlete.
I mean, when he played
He's
against the
listed,
Dolphins,
he's listed under offensive weapon
yeah, he's going to be a slot. He's going to be a slash type player, receiver, running back type of guy.
in a really stinky team.
that's like the guy from Florida that went to Minnesota and now it's in whatever
Percy
other team.
Harvin.
Harvin.
Person.
Yeah.
Percy Harvin's a legitimate receiver.
And running back.
Yeah, and this guy was sort of.
And he's on my fantasy team, and I'm offering him in a trade.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's go to break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. We'll talk some Canes. We'll do Come Mierda coming up next. Welcome back to the Sports Table, everybody. This is one of my favorite Metallica songs of all time. Is it one of yours, Jorge?
Yeah, top 5 on Metallica.
This is one of those songs. I don't know if you. I mean, you say it all the time. When we're playing dominoes, and then you just sit back and you look and you go, "Hi, how did they come up with this?
I don't know.
From where? From what universe do they pull this from, and put it into this physical realm that we live in?"
I'll tell you what. I really think artists, whatever medium they use to put their art out, are different people than us.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely think differently. And something like this just kind of proves it, that there's no way that you, at least from my perspective, I'm so untalented in any of those areas that I can't
Make
figure
sense
out.
of it.
To me, physics is easier than this. I don't understand how they put these dots and melodies together and make a song. I appreciate it. I don't understand it.
I mean, it's sort of the same thing when you're coming up with a new invention and a machine, and you there's nothing, and then you create something that's, either beneficial, a masterpiece, whatever. It's the same thing when you put it on a paintbrush, on a canvas, or you put it into an instrument.
The invention thing, that can just be a matter of someone using engineering skills and problem solving. Like, this has to be an easier way, and using engineering to build something to make it easier. But music is so organic. Like, I played in band through high school. I don't understand music for shit. But there were people in that they could play music by themselves and just understand what notes. That's an organic talent that you can't replicate.
Or you can. I don't think you can learn. It's something to me. That I don't think you either have it and you're born with it, or you don't have it. One of the two.
What other aspects of a person's personality is that a part of? Like, I guess their athletic ability. Like, there's only a few things that someone else can't learn.
Well, it's more about like what do they have as natural instincts? Like, you can learn to be more athletic. You cannot be freakishly athletic by hard work. That's more of a natural thing. You can learn how to play a sport, but there are certain things that are more personal, more natural.
But you can learn how to play guitar, but you can't create this.
No, yeah,
Right.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like when I said I'm in band, I played for 7 years. I just regurgitate what's in front of me on the page. But there were people who could just go off the cuff.
Right.
And that's a natural, innate thing. The ability to allow, I believe it's the left side is the creative side of your brain.
I'm not that creative to know.
Yeah, no.
It's the right side.
The right side is.
Yeah.
The left side is the more.
Yeah, there's just
analytical
people that are
numbers, yeah.
just tuned to that side more so than other people, and they just naturally they understand the rhythm, they understand tones, and
See, I have a round brain. I don't have that side. I don't have that side. I don't have that side, and it's unfortunate because I believe that the arts, and to dovetail in with your point, the arts, people in the arts, they have that unteachable talent where you can get a piece of paper and you can create something and draw, or you can write, or you can paint, or you can take 14 matchsticks and build a house. Those people have that talent that they see in 3D, they see in vision that normal people don't. And those numbers are few and far between that have that talent.
You know what this brings up? Have you guys ever seen, it's a website, I know you have, you're the one that showed me it. It's called Comedians Driving in Cars, Drinking Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. It's basically Jerry Seinfeld and his comedian friends, and they drink coffee, and it's like 15-minute little funny videos, them being funny. My favorite one was the one with Kramer.
Because the season 2 you saw already, right?
Yeah. The one with Kramer,
Right.
what was his name? Michael
Richards.
Richards? Okay. He talks about how, you can understand this, when he was in the military, he was in the Navy, he played chess all the time. And he played for hours, and he was great at it. Michael Richards, crazy, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He would play for hours and hours, and it was rare for him to lose. And he was walking through the streets, and he saw this homeless person with a chessboard right on the street, and he's like, "Come on, let me play you." And the guy goes, "Okay, I'll play you twice, and after I beat you 2 times, I'm not gonna play you anymore, ever. I will never play you again." Richards, he's like, "Yeah, fine, whatever." He plays him. 2 minutes in, boom, 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 checkmate. Whoa, what was this? What was this? And he's like, "You got one more." And Richards like, "Okay, let's play some chess." He beat him a second time even faster than he beat him the first time. And he's like, come on. I want to play. And the guy's like, no, I'm done. I told you 2 times and that's it. And he walks. And he started walking away. And Richards was talking about how he has a professional chess player friend of his that goes to tournaments around the world. And he told him, "I found this person on the street. He was a bum on the street. We played on the corner." And he goes, "Yeah, you see those all the time." He was a savant.
Yeah.
He was a savant that their realm that he's able to see 6-7 steps ahead of where you even can think about it. That's the realm that he lives on above the rest of us. And it's the same thing when Jimi Hendrix played.
Right.
That it was like it was out of body. That it couldn't be a mere mortal. So someone that's just a regular Joe to be playing, creating this kind of genius.
I want to tell you, and it's nothing compared to the chess guy, or I'm not a 7 or whatever the hell you said. Savant, my art, if you want to put it that way, my gift, it's problem solving, troubleshooting in a power plant, which there's 1,000 systems within the one system that you see putting on electricity. I have a gift. I can do what you were saying about 6 or 7 moves. I cannot, when I'm doing it, and it's happened to me for years. I don't do it anymore, but I could not teach anybody. That's the first thing, because you were here and I was over here. And you would say, yeah, but this, and I would tell you afterwards, no, no, it can't be because this is happening, and you see this here and this here, and it can't be this. But that 4 or 5 things that people would not even get to, it would take me like 5 seconds, and it's nothing that I worked on. It's always come to me. I've made so many trips when I used to do service that I have gone. And these people are trying to get this plan started for 2 days and cannot do it. And I swear to you, sometimes it will take me 5 minutes. Sometimes it will take me less than 5 minutes to say, this is what's wrong. And the people will be like freaking out. They will be like, how do you know?
Right.
And it really is my gift. That's my gift. I've seen it. I've done it. And it's amazing because to you, it's so simple. It is so simple.
Why can't everybody see
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Which is why you can't teach it.
No, I can't. I can't do it. I'm a terrible teacher. I've taught a lot of classes, but I'm a terrible teacher. I am. I'm terrible.
Wait, I remember a story to sort of bring it into sports. Wayne Gretzky was asked sort of the same thing. How could you see the ice, like LeBron's vision on the court? When Wayne Gretzky had the puck on his stick, he saw the ice at a different parallel than the rest of us. And he said that he would be on the ice and he would have deja vus, that he would dream what he was going to do on the ice the night before, whatever, few days before he was actually out there. And he was going through whatever he already knew in his mind.
So that's why I made it that easy, because he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen.
That's special. There are a few people that can do that in their professions, like George can do it in his profession, and artists can do it, and some athletes can do it. But, there are people that are just that far ahead of everything else, man. They're just 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And they see in that 3D, like when you buy something that you're going to build and it's got those instructions in 3D and they break them all up like that.
Yeah.
People see that way. Those things drive me nuts. I throw them away because I can't look at that without getting dizzy.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if we're gonna go to the chess guy as an example, who was the famous chess player that went crazy? He ended up being
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer was the same way, that because their intellect and their realm is so much higher than just regular society, they go crazy.
Yeah.
The guy was a bum on the street, and to finish off the story, when Kramer talks to his friend, he goes, "Yeah, I see them everywhere. They can beat me." He's like, "I've played them and I've lost to them every single time, but they don't work in the structure of society."
They can't now. They can't function in most of the other areas of society.
Right.
So it is amazing. My cousin, Rodrigo,
The painter.
the painter. I seen this guy paint, and it's amazing to me. I don't know. I can't even understand where they get it from. I can't. I don't know. To me, it's amazing. And going back to Metallica, I'm going to play you a song from Metallica in another show whenever I get my music again from their third album. It's all instrumental, and people think Metallica is all freaking head banging, 1,000 miles an hour. The guy screaming. Metallica, the original bass player for Metallica, had a master's degree in classical music from Berkeley.
Look at that.
Now they have the guitar player has a master's degree in music also from Berkeley, but before, and going back to the conversation we're having when you asked me about Metallica, and I told you the first 3 albums, I can tell the difference when Cliff passed away. Metallica died. Metallica's still a great band. I mean, Metallica's worst album, Load and Reload and all that crap, if it would have been another band, I would have loved the other band.
Right.
But it's Metallica, so Load and Reload are a load of crap.
It's not what you knew.
No, it's a load of crap. But the music they created in the first 3 albums, if you listen to it, I mean, they got some really fast, really hard, harsh songs. But if you even in them hard songs, if you listen to the melody they play, they're awesome. Unlike anybody else, they are. They're great. They are.
Some people have that gift.
Oh no, yeah.
It's one of those things where we always talk about the negative aspect when you have a terrorist like the guy from the Boston bombing or whatever, that the kids that shot the guy from New Zealand or
Right.
Australia.
It's out of my realm of comprehension. I cannot think like that for the negative. It's the same way for the positive.
Right.
I cannot see what they see.
Right. And it's frustrating sometimes because you'd like to. I'd like to be able to draw a straight line. I just can't.
Yeah, me either.
I can't. I
Me
mean,
either.
and it's frustrating because some people, you want to be able to do certain things, and because it's interesting, I just can't.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're envious of my Daniel Bosch?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, if I traced it, it wouldn't come out like that.
No, really.
I could trace it with onion paper, and it wouldn't come out like that.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
To finish up the show and just the football, because that's the theme of today. Miami Hurricanes, they beat Florida Atlantic 34-6 last week. This week they have the Florida Gators. Now you guys had the Florida Gators rivalry, the original one, the real one.
The real one.
This is the second year that the Canes have played the Gators.
And
Before they quit.
and the last time
Before they quit.
because they're done. They're not playing them again. They said.
Oh, really?
Yep, they're done.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I just don't like Gator fans at all because they're annoying. But what does this game mean to you, separate than what it means to me and Alan?
I'll be honest with you, at least to me, because we haven't played them so many years on a constant basis like we do Florida State. To me, this is a game, on my perspective, is for UM. This is going to really give me a gauge of where UM is more than anything. It's not so much Florida. It's always fun to beat Florida, always. And I don't like Florida. I really didn't like Florida when Sperry was their coach. I really didn't like them then, and I didn't like them before when we were playing them every year. But to me, it's more about the Canes than it is in that perspective than it is for Florida. If it would have been, Florida State would be the same. It's something. I want to see how good they really are. I want to see the defense, how good they really are. The offense. It's not so much the rivalry of the game. At least not for me.
I'm not a big Gator fan. I didn't like them when I went to school up there for a semester, and then I went to another. I stayed almost a year up there, and I didn't enjoy anything of that. I think at this point, as George said, it's more the lack of playing them every year kind of wears a little bit off that luster of that rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still rather beat the Gators than any other team aside from Notre Dame in the country. And I'd be happier beating them than anybody else.
Oh, I to be honest with you, and sorry for interrupting, but I would love to beat more than Notre Dame, even Alabama.
They're not on our schedule. I'd love to beat them
That
too.
ain't happening in the next 10 years.
I'd love to beat them too. That means we're playing them in a national championship game. I'd love that shot. But and I think Florida's got a pretty good football team. I don't think they have the team that they had before. They've got 7 new starters on defense, and I think that's gonna wear on them a little bit on Saturday. But I think our strong suit is their weak suit, and I think it's gonna hurt them. I think it's gonna punish them. I think Steven is gonna throw the ball all over the field, and it's gonna be a high scoring game.
He didn't look that. I mean, he had some major drops. 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns on offense, 1 on defense. But he didn't. He looked okay. He looked mediocre. I thought he was gonna be a lot better.
I think that had a lot to do with who they were playing. I don't think for 1 second that you don't know you're playing FAU,
right?
And don't think for 1 second you don't know you have the Gators the following weekend. And I think that's where everybody was geared up. Yeah, they wanted to score their 30 and get out, but as you saw by the fact that they ran the ball 34, 35 times, 36 times, they weren't really looking to impress with the passing game, even though he would have liked to. But I think you'll see it this week.
Alan, if they beat the Gators, how much of the Canes are back are we gonna hear the next week?
Oh my God! I'm a little afraid to go into work because the minute they win, everyone working there is gonna start giving crap to our boss, who's from UF. And that's just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. Oh crap! Will the city go? It might as well be a green riot.
The Canes are back.
Oh my God!
Well, but before you can say that, they've done what you said a little while ago.
lose some games that they should have won in the last few years. And I think that's one of the things they got to do this year. They got to win the games they're supposed to win.
Yeah.
This year. They have to beat North Carolina. They can't play around with North Carolina, and that's going to be a tough game for them. So winning their conference is a huge
You have
step.
no idea. You really have no idea how hard it is for Carlos to say we have to beat North Carolina. You really, neither of you understand how hard it is for us to verbalize that.
Because that's not a conversation.
Verbalize that?
To say it, to verbalize it. To say it.
Verbalize.
Yeah.
Because that was never a thought. You never looked at the schedule and said we have to beat North Carolina, Wake Forest. The only thing is you looked at the schedule and said, what week is Florida State? That's the game we got to win. Yeah. That's the only thing that mattered. Where was Florida State? Where was Notre Dame? Yeah. That's it. Because you knew you were playing the Orange Bowl game, or you were playing in the Sugar Bowl, or you were playing the Fiesta Bowl. It's just a matter of what team you were going to play for the national championship. Remember, we won 5, could have won 8.
Yeah.
Easily.
Should have won at least 7.
Should have won. Yeah, definitely.
Do you have really quick, Carlos, some uplifting news from your segment?
I do have uplifting news for my segment. I had to go halfway around the world to get it.
Yeah.
But I do, and it's kind of different. It's an evolving evolving animal. It's growing, and there's momentum growing. So I think it's a positive thing for the world.
Well, Obamacare?
No, I don't think that's positive.
What is it? What's the news? I mean, because this is gonna be the last segment because it's almost.
Okay. And it's Saudi Arabia. We're talking about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has the highest unregistered, undocumented, but the highest rate of spousal abuse and abuse on women and domestic violence in the world. Women are treated as second-class citizens there. Women are not allowed to own cars, to drive. Women are not allowed to be out on the street without a male sponsor.
The way it should be. Alan, don't say that.
Oh, Maria.
Wait, how are you going to throw it to me when you have the most Hispanic accent here? And I get confused for being a Jewish guy.
He can't verbalize it like you.
He cannot. You're right.
That male sponsor who has to be a brother, a father, or a husband is called a maharaja. And
I ordered that at Miami Spice.
And it's the world is pretty interesting over there. Just now, literacy rate for women, literacy has gone up to 48%. So 48% of the women are now literate, which is still way, way below the numbers here in our country.
But our country is actually the other way around, not right now.
Right, but nonetheless, they're working up and moving up towards it, because just a few years ago it was in the teens. So that's a positive thing. And again, women are not allowed to start businesses. They're not allowed to work. The majority of the workforce, 97% of the workforce is men. 3% of the workforce is women. And women only work in places like banks that have women clients, specific women clients. They work in women's schools. They work in women's segments of the university. So it's a very closed society. It's very family-oriented, but a very closed society as far as women go. They have very, very few rights. Even when it comes down to inheritances, they're only allowed to inherit half as much as a man. A man or a brother or sibling would inherit twice as much as a woman every day of the week.
Right.
So the good news is that the country's moving forward. The country in 2015 will allow women to vote.
Hey, look at that.
Will allow women to run in an election in 2015, which is monumental. And most importantly of all, this week they signed a domestic abuse law into effect, where men will now be held accountable for domestic violence against women and against children. And I think that's a big kudos for Saudi Arabia, and I'll give them a big hand, because it's great to know that somewhere around the world they're advancing to a little bit more societal evolution and not that sectarian religious thinking that they've had.
How strange that in 2015, 2013 that there's still women are still dealing with, equal rights.
They're absolutely second-class citizens in that country. Again, they're not allowed out in public alone. They can't go all their business, all their private business, their banking, their buying of stuff, all the things that they do publicly and privately is done by that sponsor of theirs, not by them. They can't do these things.
And that is the most. No, not the most. That's not. Let's not say Kuwait, because Kuwait and the Arab Emirates the United Arab Emirates, it's a
Mhm.
different kind of lifestyle.
Yes.
Totally different. Outside the U of A, that is the most advanced socially community in the Middle East.
As far as women rights go.
As far as, well, human right, female and humans.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And they're starting to separate themselves a little bit more from the run of the mill, from your mainstream Middle Eastern countries, where women are actually third class citizens behind goats and dogs.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Really?
and it's a shame, and it's the reason that when I saw the story, I thought it was a very positive thing to bring out, because there is this big misconception about, or not really so much of a misconception, but a thought process that women are treated so poorly in those countries. They're still stoned to death. They're still, if they're caught talking to a man, they're considered an infidel. They're considered and that's something that's starting to change slowly. But you see the wheels are in motion in that country, which is a very positive thing.
Very good.
Really quick, just let's have a 5-minute discussion. This has been another week now. Syria, we still haven't done anything with Syria, but now there's congressional hearings, and it's crazy, man. The staunch Republican guys are supporting the president.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's active, and it's something that they see that it's not something that Obama wants, and it's something that it's against everything he thinks. If he'd have thought, if they would have told him this 4 years ago, he'd have said, absolutely not, I would never do that. But like we spoke last show, and you said, and I believe you told me that he would never go at it alone.
Right. I did say that.
He's going at it alone.
He's going for it.
They've walked away from him. They've walked away from the table. All of them, the Germans. The French are still there in a kind of an orbital pattern, just around the periphery. But the Germans are gone. The British are gone, even though they've said they would revisit it later on.
Yeah.
But it's a one-man show right now. And if he goes, it's going to be on his own.
He still needs Congress to back it up, though.
I don't think so. I think that regardless of what Congress says, he's going.
Really?
And yeah, I'm convinced of that. And I think that for multiple reasons. I think that he's out to protect the international community and their reputation. And regardless of what he said, because he said it this morning, that it's not about me or my position, he's out to protect his and the United States' position in the world. And I think rightly so. You can't say I'm going to do something if you do something else and then not back it up, because now that's just going to embolden Kim, and it's going to embolden the Iranians, and now we got a problem.
How strange, man! You're defending Obama.
I like the fact that he's stepping up, and even though I said it last show, I think this should have been done a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, but it's a little late.
It's a little late, but it's happening.
But it's happening.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we should get involved in the Middle East at all. And this is not really a conversation I want to have, but
We had it last week.
no, okay. I'm glad I wasn't here.
Let's get this going. The good old faithful. My God, whenever we waver. Alan, where have you been this show? I feel like you haven't participated that much. You know what you're doing? You're preparing for the nerd show that we're gonna
Oh
have.
yeah, our nerd council.
We're gonna have that. That's gonna
Yep.
happen. And
Sports Table shall hold a nerd council.
it'll be under the different name, but under the sports table bracket.
It'll be the nerd table.
Like nerdgasm. I'm still working on the words. Hey, you guys in this show or
The
what?
Theos just ran away. What's
I
going
know,
on?
what's going on there?
What?
I love the music.
Come mierda of the week. I almost messed up again.
See?
Almost.
You
Almost didn't verbalize that.
Burgerize.
Verbalize.
We all pick a come mierda of the week, and we just rag on them. Last week, listen, I got a text from Half Beard.
Oh yeah.
I got a text from
I got
Happy.
told the same thing.
It was weak. Last
was.
week's come mierda was weak.
It was.
Yeah.
I felt it was when I left here.
I'm not gonna brag, but he's like, I was the only one that brought it.
You were the three of us were bad.
So
you?
me.
Yeah, his was okay. The
If
rest
I
of us
was the best
whack.
one, we're in trouble. So we're gonna do Come Mierda this week. Matt, do you have something in particular? No? Okay. Because I think last time it was like FCS.
Oh, the food fight.
Okay, which was Okay, go with me though. Who wants to jump in first? Because I have pretty good ones.
Well, I was first last week, so.
I have 4, so I'd rather go at the end.
Jorge, you got one?
I got one.
Then go for it.
No, go ahead. You got
I'll go then. I'll go first. What the hell? My first come mierda is one that it's one of those come mierdas that you see it and you're like, man, what an idiot, and then it goes away and you don't remember it till it gets brought up again. When I'm watching ESPN or NFL Network or NBC, whatever, local, it doesn't matter, and old football players refer to the NFL as the National Football League, it pisses me off. They always go, the National Football League, the National Football League, the National Football League. And it's only the NFL players. The analysts will go, what do you think about the new NFL rule? Yeah, the National Football League, blah, 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 blah. Dude, just call it the NFL. It's what it's called. It's like a fraternity, a brotherhood that can't refer to it as the NFL, only the National Football League. Watch. When you watch TV, listen for it. And it's going to piss you off like it does me. Like the rhetorical questions during the soccer matches. It's one of those things that just call it what it is, the NFL. It's the NFL, okay? It's like KFC. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's the NFL.
Does it bother you when they call them the New York Football Giants?
Yes.
That too.
That pisses me the hell off, too.
I can't stand that.
It's the Giants.
Right.
We know what it is. The Giants are in San Francisco. You have to do it anymore.
Right.
So for that, I'm talking about what's this guy's name? Schlereth. I'm talking Chris Carter. I'm talking Herman. All those morons that they always say the National Football League. You guys are my first come mierda of the week. Come mierda. My second come mierda of the week is Maryland. Did you hear what happened with Maryland after they defeated? They just blew the hat off of FIU.
No.
They beat FIU 43-10, something like that. And you posted it on the website, Alan. But I had heard of it before. They gave the game ball to one of their players.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Okay, I know what you're saying.
Because he had 5 tackles, he had a sack. He got the game ball from the coach. The university took the ball away from him and said, after you graduate, you can get the football back because it's considered a benefit, according to the NCAA rules.
Wow.
The man could not even have his own game ball in Maryland. Now, the NCAA said, listen, it's fine, you can do it, whatever. Maryland themselves said, no. We don't want anything involved with it. We'll just keep the football he can get at the end of his career here. That's what they did.
I would have quit right there. Just give me my ball. I'm going home.
So, Maryland, that's stupid, man. It's your own player. Just give him his ball. He earned it. He deserved it. I mean, he played FIU, but whatever. He deserved it. So for that, Maryland and the stupid rules that you're upholding, you're my second come mierda of the week. Come mierda. By the way, how great of a comparison after I said that they were like the teacher, the NCAA is the teacher that focuses on the shirt untucked and not the grades that the kids have.
Correct.
I've been thinking about that ever since then, and this is another reason why.
Yeah.
Give the kid the damn ball.
Their
He's
stupid
not
rules
taking
scare
it.
Maryland into not giving game balls. By the way, how proud were you that FIU finally made it to Deadspin
Yeah, exactly.
as the team that got raped?
in the cover story. My last come mierda of the week. Slightly, I just refer to George. It's on the Facebook page, actually. Notre Dame, in their first game of the year, they gave out, you know how they give trinkets or whatever, foam fingers, a banner, whatever.
Right.
They gave out cups to all the fans in Notre Dame. Okay? They misspelled the cups. Instead of saying the Fighting Irish, it said the Fig King Irish. They forgot the H. And they gave out thousands of cups that were misspelled
Awesome.
to everybody that went to the game. So Notre Dame, because I put it on the sports table, I said, this looks like Theo George's work.
Yeah, but so you understand Theo George's mind.
Yeah.
See, that is a collectible item right away.
Yeah, you take it, put it away, and in 40
Right
years, it'll be worth $3.
No, everywhere. It's Notre Dame.
It is Notre Dame.
It's Notre Dame. If it would have been Maryland, it would have been worth
That's true.
$3.
There's
But it's Notre Dame.
50,000 cups.
You don't matter.
Most of them were left there by the drunks
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, man.
So for that, whoever tried to spell out the cup and did the marketing, and whoever opened the box and said, wait a second, but gave it out anyway, all of you involved are my final come mierda of the week.
Come mierda.
That's a good come mierda.
I mean, come mierda.
Excellent. Good job. All right, here we go.
I'm going to go last.
Dateline, Montana,
Bam, 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 bam.
where 49-year-old teacher Stacy Rombold rapes a 14-year-old girl,
Oh, God.
gets into a relationship with her, and then gets then the young girl decides to talk and starts, getting a lot of backlash because this was a very popular teacher in the school.
How old was he?
He was 49. She was 14.
He deserves
And so he he's not the come mierda in this story, by the way. He's not.
Oh, boy.
He's not.
Where's the twist?
This young girl took such a beating from the community, from the other kids. She ended up committing suicide in 2010. She killed herself.
What?
She killed herself. Okay? So it's a sad come mierda, but a real one. Here comes Judge Todd Baugh. B-A-U-G-H. Judge Todd sentences this man, or actually, the man is found guilty of
Statutory rape.
yeah, all the little nuances that go, and he sentenced the man to 15 years in prison. When he comes to sentencing, he suspends the sentence and sentences the man to 31 days in prison.
What?
31 days in prison. Now there's an uproar in Montana. They're trying to recall the verdict, and they're trying to get this judge to change it. But that's not the worst of it. The judge says in his post-trial press conference, in order to justify his actions, he said that the 14-year-old girl had more control in this relationship than the 49-year-old man, and that she was chronologically older than her age. Mind you, chronologically and age are the same word, but nonetheless, this hillbilly said that she was chronologically older than her age. So let's say she was chronologically older than 14. Let's say she was 15 or 16 or 17. Does that mean that a 49-year-old man can seduce, rape multiple times and have carry on a relationship with a 14-year-old girl who he claims was, because I guess not only is he a judge, but he plays a psychologist on TV, I guess.
Oh, right.
So he kind of psychoanalyzed a dead young girl and tells me that she was chronologically older than that. So he sentences this man to 31 years old. There's a repeal. 31 days. There's a repeal now, hopefully to try not only to repeal the sentence and sentence him correctly to 25 or 30 years in jail, but there's also a petition, 2 different petitions that have had more than 50 and 60,000 signatures respectively, trying to recall this judge from his position. And for that,
Wow.
Judge Baugh, you're my super come mierda of the week.
Come mierda.
That's... How do people get into positions like that?
I don't know. It's pretty tragic. And when you have daughters our age who are closer to that, it really strikes a chord, because even at 17 and even at 18, find out that it was a professor at the college level who was 42 and your daughter's 19. It's still going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
A different one, but a problem nonetheless.
At 19 already, I tell you that if she wants to go to bed with a 42-year-old, that's her problem. Really, that's the way I see it. When Alexis, who is 13 probably, or so, 14 maybe, she started dating a kid that was a senior. The kid was 18, E.T. I don't know if you know him. And I told her, and nobody wanted to tell me, of course.
Right.
And when I found out, I was like, "You finished that crap today." And it was only 4 years old. 4 year difference between the two.
Right.
The problem is between 14 and 18.
The world of difference emotionally and
it's
mentally.
Too much.
It is.
I don't agree to putting a guy in jail. He didn't rape her. He did not rape her. To me, rape deserves death. If you rape a girl, you deserve to die. A little girl, you deserve to die. I don't agree with 30 years. I'll be honest with you. Even if it was my daughter, I don't agree with 30 years. I think 5 years to me would be a sufficient sentence. Because I'm going to tell you that at 14, a girl knows what she's doing, and a man can convince her, an older man can convince her doing things, but she's not being raped. For me, raping a 14-year-old.
Against her own will.
Yeah, against her will. It's to me, it's
Well,
death.
I mean, statutory rape is one definition versus actual physical rape.
Right.
Nonetheless, I think a 49-year-old man can run circles mentally around
Oh, no.
a little girl like that
And
and
it's
make
so
her
easy.
make
It's
her
so
to
easy
believe
to
and think.
convince her.
Absolutely, and he should know better, and he should step back. And for this judge to take all that responsibility and accountability off the shoulders of a 49-year-old man and drop them on the shoulder of a 14-year-old girl,
Yeah.
dead wrong.
Dead wrong.
Dead wrong.
Yeah. Tremendo come mierda. Well, my come mierdas of the week.
I thought you wanted to go last.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right,
I do want to go last.
I have one for me. I have two called in for my brother Adam. So my
What
my
is this,
going
Burger King?
Colin,
Get it your
the hell,
way?
man.
He
What the
demanded.
hell
He
is that?
demanded.
You know what?
He actually wanted to call in.
I'm not doing mine. Alan is
Who
doing
the
mine.
hell said you're allowed to call in?
He wanted to
We're
call
taking
in
requests.
And who the hell is he?
for it. My brother. That's
But he's
that.
got no stake in this game.
You know what? He's taking my place. Alan's brother's going to take my come mierda.
What's wrong? You don't have faith in yours?
Oh, yeah. No, mine is very good.
Then
All right,
save
then
it. Go.
Say it.
Go.
All right. So my come mierda is Reggie McKenzie. Reggie McKenzie, in the line of how we complain about things in this show, Reggie McKenzie is the general manager of the Oakland Raiders.
Okay.
All right? The Oakland Raiders are god-awful. The Oakland Raiders have no quarterback. The
Well, they
Oakland
have-
Raiders, in the 4th round in this past draft, drafted a quarterback. The 4th-round pick. That's relatively valuable, right? The Oakland Raiders also this year cut their 4th-round pick quarterback before ever getting to a regular season game, and their 3rd quarterback will be an undrafted rookie. That is prolific uselessness. That is almost Ireland-esque.
I thought Jeff
that's worse.
was our general manager.
Even Ireland's like, damn.
I read that. My first thought was, oh my god, this might be worse than anything Carlos has
So
complained
they
about.
drafted him. He
He
survived,
drafted him this year in the 4th round and
goes
has
to the
cut him.
preseason and cuts him.
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
and signed an undrafted rookie to be the 3rd quarterback, while then bringing in Seattle's trash and Matt Flynn and Terrell Pryor.
Seattle's trash.
So for that prolific sense of uselessness, he is my Come Mierda of the week. Come Mierda. Now my brother last week got into an accident. So he has 2 Come Mierdas involved.
What happened? Yeah, I saw the
All right.
pictures.
So the first Come Mierda is himself. Because he admits it. He made a bonehead mistake. He rolled through a stop sign that he should not have rolled through. All right, car is roughly totaled. The chassis is a little bent. The axle broke. He turns out that the little Darth Vader in his car flew out the window. The tire rolled in the other direction. The lady hit him so hard he actually spun and hit a fence.
What the hell was he driving? A wagon? A little red wagon?
He drives a Honda Element,
Okay, a little
which
red
is
wagon.
a relatively solid car. All right, so he nominates himself for
what was
the
she
mistake.
driving?
I'll get there.
A
Sorry.
tank.
All right, so I'll get there. So he nominates himself for the mistake. Now the more passionate one. All right, she was driving a Chrysler 300, which in and of itself is a fucking tank. Because my uncle has one. That shit is huge. All right. Now, while my brother is legally at fault for running through the stop sign, this lady in a back area neighborhood is going like 45.
Oh, like you never gone 45 in a neighborhood.
Me, no, because I drive like an old man.
He doesn't even
This is
go
actually,
45
this is
on-
actually the
on
one time you
turnpike.
can't say that to anybody. I don't.
Well, I have.
All right. She rams him, right? He spins, loses a tire. He's still awake. Mind you, his chest is all messed up. He gets bruised all over. He gets out of the car. His first concern is, oh my God, I've been in an accident. Let me make sure this lady's okay. So he, runs over there to check on her. And this lady, who's sped and destroyed my brother's car, gets out and just starts mother bleeping him for everything under the sun. Yo, what the fuck are you doing? The fucking bullshit. Calls an entire army of family, so she has like 10 people there. The paramedics check her out. She's okay. They clear her, no problem. We now get a letter that she wants to sue for bodily harm.
Wow. Of course you would.
Oh, yeah. Mind you,
lives in
the
Miami.
paramedics checked her out. She was fine. My brother was kind enough to go over and check on her.
Right.
Mother bleeped, and now she wants to sue. So for that, my brother nominates that woman as the Come Mierda of the week. Come Mierda!
Come mierda. Ow, 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 ow. By the way, how old is she?
She was in her 40s, I think.
Okay.
My brother describes her as a very standard, like, Sedano's shopping Hispanic woman. She was very loud. Lots of tios and nephews and all that showed up. And
She taking money. All right.
I have two people in the same subject for Come Mierda of the week. Okay? I have Tio Carlos and Alan for going on the Dolphins 4-12.
yeah!
Okay? Both Come Mierdas of the week.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Come Mierda! That is going to be right over 8-8.
Yeah, right.
I say we make a wager on who is closer at the end of the season, and that person gets taken out to dinner.
To McDonald's.
No, we're talking about big time dinner. We're talking big boy dinner. Dressed
Burger King.
with a jacket on and everything.
The
I just
Chick-fil-A.
wore one yesterday.
The Golden Arches.
I'm good to go.
Chick-fil-A?
By the way, I'm in the middle, so I can't lose.
Prime 112.
Actually, yeah, you're in the best
Big
spot.
English.
I'm in the best spot. I can't lose. Okay, thank you, Time. We've been here for a while. Thank you for Defo and DefoRadio.com, Ken, Mike, everyone on the website. Thank you for Alan. We're on YouTube. What's the handle?
Sports Table Miami.
Look for us on the Sports Table on Facebook. The Carlos Masters, the Twitter account.
Sports_table.
We might be.
I don't do anything.
No, you're the superstar of the show.
But I need you and I need you both to get Twitter and get on. I don't care if you follow or listen. Just hit follow and just stay away. But I need listeners so we can drive money into this business.
The Dolphins, baby. The Dolphin season starts. Either they're going to be 1-0 or 0-1, but we will be here to capture everything else. The Canes, they face the Gators.
37-24 Hurricanes.
Don't go anywhere. We will be here next week covering everything football, everything Dolphins, everything you want to hear on the Sports Table. See you next week.
Peace.
Llego a Puerto, voy para Martané, llego a Puerto, voy para Miami.